on the world stage, on the global stage. The world's preeminent film academy richly lauded and also awarded India's diversity, cultural originality and creativity as 2 Indian films won 2 prestigious and much coveted Oscars. The first Oscar, as you all know, viewers, by now, was won by Naatu Naatu. That had the world enthralled, not just by its balearic, but also manic and infectious energy. That song, viewers, that dance, wow. Deepika Padukone has a word for it, has a phrase for it. I'll come to that. But before the award was announced, the performers were called onto the Oscar stage, as I told you, by actor Deepika Padukone to dance for the world. And those are the glimpses of that dance on the Oscars stage. And you can see the sets have been created to look a bit like the backdrop of the building that was featured in the original movie. Obviously the number of dancers much smaller, but the 2 lead actors who pulled off this amazing energetic dance were right there. Padukone called their performance a complete banger. Needless to say, the complexity of the choreography and the originality of the song received a standing ovation at the Oscar ceremony. Soon afterwards, the audience was on its feet again as Naatu Naatu won the Oscar for the Best Original Score. Watch this.
Ready? R.
And after this came the double glory.
And the Oscar goes to The Elephant Whisperers, Kartiki Gonzalez and Gunit Monga.
This is the greatest ode to India. Our originality, our creativity and our culture being hailed by the world. RRR's Naatu Naatu won the Best Original Song at the Oscars. Watch how the backbenchers became the toast of town.
Thank you, Academy. I grew up listening to the Carpenters, and now here I am with the Oscars. There was only one wish on my mind. So was Rajamouli's and my family's. RRR has to win, pride of every Indian, and must put me on the top of the world. Thank you, Kartikeya and Variance Films for making this possible. Love you all. Thank you. Namaste.
Not just sweeping the award, Naatu Naatu also got world dancing to Indian tunes. Hear how Deepika called it an absolute banger.
An irresistibly catchy chorus, electrifying beats and killer dance moves to match. In addition to being sung in Telugu and illustrating the film's anti-colonialist themes, it's also a total banger.
This is Brand India, and it's arrived.
While Naatu Naatu captured the popular pulse, 2 Indian women took center stage for winning the Oscar for the most substantial Best Short Documentary, Elephant Whisperers. The first Indian production to win an Academy was hailed by the director as an ode to motherland India, as it depicted the delicate but much vaunted bond between humans and nature.
To speak for the sacred
Watch this, viewers.
and our natural world.
And the Oscar goes to The Elephant Whisperers, Kartiki Gonzalez and Gunit Monga.
2 Indian women celebrated by the world. The first ever Indian production to clinch an Oscar.
I stand here today to speak for the sacred bond between us and our natural world, for the respect of indigenous communities, and empathy towards other living beings we share our space with, and finally, for coexistence. Thank you to the Academy for recognizing our film, highlighting indigenous people and animals, to Netflix for believing in the power of this film, to Bowman Belly and for sharing their sacred tribal wisdom, to Guneet, my producer, and Sikya, to Douglas Blush, my mentor, and my entire team, and finally to my mother, father, and sister who are up there somewhere, and you are the center of my universe, to my motherland, India.
Due to time restrictions, producer Guneet Monga couldn't give her acceptance speech, but she put it out on social media, saying tonight is historic, as this is the first ever Oscar for an Indian production. India's glory with 2 women. It indeed is India's time to shine.
Well, after the win, the cast and crew were understandably jubilant. Their families too joined in the celebrations. Here's a quick look at all of that, viewers.
It's beyond our wildest dreams. I'm so happy. I think this is the first purely Indian movie that's won an Oscar. I know Slumdog won and Gandhi won, but those were both Western productions. This is the first, as far as I know, Indian production, full Indian movie to win an Oscar, and I couldn't be more proud of my adopted country.
It's just amazing that RRR has become the first Indian film to win Oscar. I salute the musical genius of M.M. Kirwani Garu, lyricist Chandra Bosu, singers Kala Bhairava, Rahul Sipliganj, choreographer Prem Rakshit, of course actors Tarak and Ram Charan, who danced like a dream. Just one man, S.S. Rajamouli, made all this happen. Rajamouli has made every Indian proud today. I also want to congratulate the entire team of The Elephant Whisperers for winning the Oscar for the Best Short Documentary. You all have made history and made our hearts swell with pride. Jai Hind.
Well, Indian cinema today flexed its creative muscles at the Oscars, and the industry says it's long overdue, and here are some of the tributes.
I think it's a great euphoric feeling, sense of pride, joy, happiness. 2 wins, Elephant Whisperer, Guneet Monga's, and of course Rajamouli's RRR winning the best song, original song. It's fantastic. As an Indian and a fraternity, from the fraternity, I think it's fabulous.
I think it's a great moment for every Indian. There's 2 awards, Oscar awards for India. It's a great feeling, great moment. It's a proud moment for everybody. It's a great encouragement and a great achievement, I would say, for every Indian. And I think our cinema, definitely we are over there on global platform.
मुझे तो गोल्डन ग्लोब मिला था तभी लगा था मतलब ऐसे नहीं हुई भविष्यवाणी की थी, पर ऐसा लग रहा था सारा जो माहौल था. इनफैक्ट अगर आप ऑस्कर देख रहे थे तो दीपिका पादुकोण ने जब नाटू नाटू गाने की जब उसका जो परफॉर्मेंस था उसके पहले जब बात की, तभी अचानक से जो रिस्पांस आ रहा था तभी पता चल रहा था कि ये रिस्पांस ऐसा लगा जैसे फिल्म फेयर को आ रहा है. लगा था गाने को मिलना मुझे लग रहा था कि असंभव था ही नहीं, सब संभव ही था. अगर नहीं मिलता तो अचरज होता.
Well, India's cultural influence, born out of its creative energies that feed off an open liberal environment at home, and its rich diversity, is being increasingly embraced world over and celebrated, viewers. Sample some of these examples. Yoga. Just think about that. In 2014, UN proclaimed 21st June as International Day of Yoga. Cricket. Even Australian Prime Minister Albanese and Prime Minister Modi watch cricket. In Ahmedabad, PM Albanese calls it a highlight of my life. Cricket has become so much really an Indian game, viewers. Holi. US Commerce Secretary grooves to Holi songs with Rajnath Singh. There you can see that on your screens. It's also being celebrated internationally in many, many countries. Indian cuisine. Just sample this fact. In the United Kingdom, Indian restaurants employ more than steel, coal, shipping industries combined in the United Kingdom. Indian cinema. Syria has a publicly displayed portrait of Amitabh Bachchan. Only portrait as big as its then president, Hafez al-Assad. I mean, that tells you something. Indian Army, Turkish woman kisses an army personnel after rescue mission. Look at that, viewers. We are winning the world, and we are doing it because we are the beacon of tolerance, moderation, responsibleness, and of course, viewers, creativity. I want to open this up because this is such a special day, and I want to get a sense really of what people are thinking and how they are viewing this. Let me bring in first Yazin Nizar, singer of the Tamil and Malayalam version of Naatu Naatu. Now, this song is so energetic, but you've translated it. How does it sound in its translated form? Can you sing a few lines to us, Nizar Saab?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's an honor. And translation, while recording, we've tried the max to sound similar to the other languages.
Right.
They have to have a unison, like without much of a difference in how it sounds. So that is what we were told while recording it.
Right. So, I mean, how did you do that? Did you rewrite the entire song, or did you just sort of translate it simply? How does that work? Because obviously a literal translation would not have worked, I'm sure. So you must have added some words, the sentiments, but does that change the overall sort of appeal or the meaning of the song?
The lyric writers were doing whatever changes or whatever requirements were there according to director sir and the music director. So they were there while we recorded. So at every point they were supervising us while recording. So there were clear instructions on how to approach every phase of the song. So yes, as you said, literal translations are difficult. So whichever fits, there was a good balance between sounding and the translation. Like if it's literal translation from the other languages, sometimes it doesn't fit on the meter of the song. So right. They made sure there was a right balance of especially when it's a triple R, there is a very slight boundary between languages, because it's all important. Every language they see as important. Every market is important. So they took they were very careful while going with every languages, I feel.
And what a beautiful country we are. You can be in the north, you can be in different states in the south, you can be in the northeast, and you can actually understand the words because they've been sort of repurposed and translated into your own language. And that just tells you that music has no boundaries. India's culture has no boundaries. It flows from one to the other seamlessly, requiring sometimes only a little bit of translation, but not really in the ethos or in the undercurrents of the creative process, but just in language. But just tell me, Mr. Nizar, and if you can just sing a few words perhaps in the Tamil version and the Malayalam version, so our viewers can sort of get a sense really of how it sounds.
Sure, I will start with Malayalam and then go to Tamil. I'll mix it up.
Right.
Make it convenient.
Okay.
രണ്ട് മനം മുന്നാക്കി രണ്ടെണ്ണക്കണ മേളം കൊട്ട് കുയിലും മയിലും പാട്ട് പാടി ഘോഷമിട്ട് കൂവിക്കൊണ്ട് ചിലമ്പാട്ടം ചൊട്ടിക്കാട്ട് കാത്തരണ്ട വെട്ടിക്കാട്ട് കല്ലിക്കട്ട് കാളയാട്ട കൂറുകൊമ്പിൽ കൊട്ടിക്കാട്ട് നാല് കാല നാല് തോളും ഇരട്ടി ധൂള് കിളപ്പിക്കാട്ട് നാ പാട്ട ചൂടു വാചകോരെ. Goes like that.
Oh, that's beautiful, because you've got the cadence. You've got the cadence, and we're listening to the original. And you've got the cadence absolutely. So the words Naatu Naatu, how do they sort of play out?
Yeah, in Tamil it's retained as Naatu Kutu.
Okay.
And it kind of means the same in Malayalam too.
Right.
So it was not, I think that was not a very hard thing to do. because it had the perfect similar wordings in both the languages. But many of the other words were different, obviously. And I think Keeravani sir, Rajamouli sir, and all the lyric writers, they've done so much hard work and research into every word. Basically, I feel, because the way it sounds in every language, it's so different yet similar, and I feel amazing work. We just have to salute, especially Keeravani sir, for this work.
Okay, let me bring in one of the biggest producers in the country. Mr. Suresh Babu is here with us. Mr. Babu, what made this alchemy come alive to the point that the world is dancing? And it's not just about, you know, the song Naatu Naatu. It's also, of course, let's not forget about the Elephant Whisperers. What a beautiful story. What makes our culture so infectious? Mr. Babu, I think you're on mute. If you just unmute yourself, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes.
So it's like today a major Indian victory for us. At one side, you have Elephant Whisperers, small film, parallel cinema doing so well. And then you have the biggest blockbuster, big film, big budget, doing all the big mass things that we are known for all over the world. And both of them getting the crowning glory that they've got today. That's the big high today, for me at least. Now, and both these filmmakers, okay, Rajamouli is phenomenal ekagrata in what he does. From he used to make television serials. From there, he's kept on moving the last 15, 20 years, each film getting better than the next. And his aim has always been there. I must make an international film. Probably he'll soon tell us. He wants to make Mahabharata international. That's his goal. So, and he's been, I've been part of some films that we did Makki together. But he's a man who just wants brilliance and excellence every time. And that's what he got out of his entire crew. For this song specifically, Chandra Bose, Keeravani, their phenomenal work. And also give a lot of credit to Prem Rakshit, the dance master, who got this outstanding choreography. And today, if we had them dancing in that stage, the two superstars, Ram Charan and Junior NTR, and Prem Rakshit also have a great role to play in getting this song to an international platform and for it to dance, for us, all of us to dance on this.
I mean, that performance was just spellbinding because, I mean, you know, the energy that you require, the training, of course, the choreography has to be spot on. A lot went into it, Mr. Babu.
A lot. And Rajamouli takes physically a lot out of you. Okay, he takes mentally a lot out of you, and physically also he takes out. Whether it was in Bahubali when he got both those guys to become physically so good. You can see effort everywhere. It's not that it's just on the heat. There is effort. Everybody's sweating it out for success. So he's on it and he gets the whole team on it. Everybody's on it. They just have one goal to just achieve that brilliance.
Well, you've talked about Mr. Rajamouli as a filmmaker, his grand scale in vision, and we're all looking forward, if you've got it right, to an internationalized Mahabharata. I mean, that would be such a dream come true, telling an Indian epic on a global scale. I mean, we watched so many Greek epics on a global scale, but that would perhaps be a first for us. But I just wanted to ask you, Mr. Babu, does nomenclatures like Bollywood, Tollywood, does this compartmentalize, you know, Indian film industry, our culture, our diversity? You know, should we just do away with it?
We should just do away with it. Yeah. This is not a Telugu film success. This is an Indian film success.
Yeah.
So anybody who says that's all petty and it's all over. We've seen that it's now national cinema. Maybe Rajamouli also was one of the first ones to create national cinema. Actually, we had the first national cinema about 75 years ago with Chandralekha. That was a film which was made in Tamil. And it was reasonably successful. It was not a phenomenal hit. And then they dubbed it. Probably 10 months after the original release, they dubbed it in Hindi, and it became a phenomenal success. And I think it finishes 75 years in April this year. So that's 75 years of the first national film, according to me. And with Bahubali, we said, okay, it became, though they made it in Telugu, it was dubbed into all languages, it became national. And after that, we have everybody thinking national. It's not that they want to make a film for one language, whether he's from Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, Kannadam, tomorrow from Bengal, from Assam. Everybody is going to dream and make films that will sell all across. Finally, we are all Indians. There's something within us. There's a lot of commonality, and probably there's diversity, and that's what we need to showcase to the whole world. And today, when I was just hearing about Kirti Gonzalez, she studied in a school in Kunur, Uti, and that's where they shot that film from about the elephant in Mudumalai. And that also shows so much of our culture and how we are linked with the environment. It's like a goosebumps day for filmmakers. One, the satisfaction that both these teams have won great awards. And two, the hope that it gives to all the future filmmakers, the present filmmakers, that we can all go there.
Yeah.
And we'll all achieve what that other film got 9 Oscars today. Soon we'll have one Indian film getting 5 to 7 Oscars on one night. And
oh, absolutely. I mean, I was surprised that it didn't make the best foreign film, because I mean, we all sometimes know that, you know, the war in Ukraine, etc., the messaging that had to be also sort of looked at. But this is phenomenal. But you're so very right. We should just do away with all these nomenclatures. We're all Indians, and we all have one culture that binds us. The fight against the British, for example, that is so well captured in the movie, united all Indians. The elephant is a quintessentially totemic Indian symbol. I mean, the elephant represents India like nothing else. You look at trinkets that are sold in Janpat or any other market, anywhere, touristy market, and the elephant is to India what you know, the charka is to was to Mr. Gandhi. So I just want to bring in Kasturi Shankar for a few moments. Kasturi Shankar, look, at the end of the day, we are breaking all our national boundaries, whatever they are. You know, many people have these sort of preconceived notions that we are this and we are that, but this is not quite true. We are Indians first, and look how brilliantly these awards have captured this essence.
First off, of course, a huge day of celebration. As somebody who was born and brought up in Tamil Nadu, started her movie debut in Tamil Nadu, and now lives in Telangana, for me it's a doubly happy day to recognize both Kartiki and then the huge magic of Triple R. Congratulations and celebrations all around. Yes, we have been breaking boundaries. You know, you mentioned the elephant god. I guess you mentioned the elephant as the quintessential definition of India, identity of India. I guess in a lighter vein, one could say we start everything with Ganesh ji, and today the elephant gods were kind to us. And that's the first ever Indian-made project to get an Oscar. That's the first ever purely Indian project to get an Oscar. But yeah, I think at the Oscar stage, we've got the recognition today, but I wouldn't say that today is the first day the world woke up to India.
That's true.
We've had the Apu trilogy, we've had the Satyajit Ray's, the Adur Gopalakrishnan, the Raj Kapoor's, the Amitabh Bachchan's, and the Shah Rukh Khan's, at a later stage, the Malayalam superstars, and now Telugu and Kannada coming on its own, breaking boundaries every now and then, but they always had to contend with the commercial umbrella, the huge shadow of Bollywood. But today, it's incredible how the Indian market, the Indian movie market commercially as well, has given way to regional cinema, to Indian cinema. Bollywood is no longer the defining commercial mogul of Indian cinema as well. The biggest grosses last year were all from places which told stories of quintessentially Indian themes, instead of taking a pan-Indian, pan-Western.
And that wouldn't have been, exactly, that wouldn't have been possible.
I have that complaint about Bollywood all the time.
And that wouldn't have been possible. I mean, there are, let me bring in Abhijit Iyer Mitra.
But Oscars have always, Oscars
no, one second, let me just
have
bring in,
always recognized Indian elements.
That's
be
right.
it Lagan or Mother India or Visaranai or today RRR. They've always gravitated towards very, very unadulterated Indian themes.
Okay, let me bring in Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Mr. Mitra, and also Sanjay Hegde here with us, who's also a culture vulture, writes about culture from time to time. Abhijit Iyer, let me ask you this question because it's an important one. I mean, we are hearing so many naysayers who talk about how diversity in India is under attack, our plurality is under attack, but if that were the case, we wouldn't have been embracing all these other diverse cultures. These films would not be doing so brilliantly outside their own geographies. But, I mean, forget about India. They are towering over the world today.
Absolutely, Rahul. And, you know, for me particularly, this was quite poignant because, you know, I was born and brought up in Madras. And, you know, we have this genre out there called Dabanggut, which is basically, you know, all the cherries on the road, the taporis on the road, very catchy beats. You know, it's truly folk music. And, you know, it used to be considered vulgar. If we did it, you know, when I was growing up, there was a song called Peta Rap. If we did it, you know, our parents would be like, what are you doing? Are you a street urchin dancing like this? And, you know, to look at that entire dance genre and that beat genre today go and win the Oscar, it's you know, it's quite almost a personal validation of your musical choices and things like that. And see, that's the beauty. If you look throughout this year, it's not just Naatu Naatu that's done very, very well out in America. In India, if you look at it, it's the regional film that's done very well, telling you very regional stories. You know, stories like Kantara and things like that. So, you know, what you're seeing is not a homogenization of the Indian psyche. It's actually a federalization and a diversification of the Indian psyche, where you're able to appreciate nuances from different parts of the country. And what that's doing is, because it's creating this kind of a bigger local market, it's also creating, you know, this a bigger business proposition and a bigger recognition, a global recognition proposition for all those regional genres to be accepted and projected internationally. And what you've seen for me is a culmination of the process of, you know, the sort of mainstreaming. For me, they were always mainstream. I mean, Tamil Nadu boy, I mean, for me, Tamil movies and Dabanggut is mainstream. But for all of this to get mainstreamed in terms of an Oscar, not that Western validation is important to me, but if it happens, it's fantastic. I'm just glad when, you know, it's like when you like a dosa. If your friend also ends up liking the dosa, you're happy. It's not that it makes your mother's dosa any worse or better. It's just that if somebody else likes it, there's that joy that, you know, somebody else, I can connect with somebody else who likes the same things that I like.
Okay, so Sanjay ji, let me bring you into this. He used an interesting phrase, federalization of the Indian psyche. So, you know, Bharat Jodo aside, we are all one here. We are united. And
was there any doubt? There never was a doubt that we are all one. The thing is, I think the best example was what my brother told his American wife, that India was the European Union before the European Union. We have so many languages. We have so much diversity. There is always, you know, some people who may have a greater representation in the pie. So why was it that the Bombay film industry was seen as a representation of India? It was because the industry was based in Bombay, but the artists the stories came from everywhere. I actually think that Indian films regressed, or rather the Bombay industry regressed, when the stories did not come from the earth. You could not see a Do Biga Zameen. You could not see a Mother India. What you saw was South Bombay Archie characters in some kind of YRF sponsored, what shall we say, comic book realism. If you tell a genuine story, which is rooted in your culture, and that is universal, then it goes. I was so proud recently when my home district of South Kerala, its culture came alive in Kantara. People who, though ethnically from there, did not have a connect with the Bhutas of South Kerala.
Right.
They then began to understand what their ancestors were. So yes, we are a great
and we can keep building on it. But first, we must not sit on our success, number one. Number two,
please, for heaven's sake, stop all this of boycotting this movie, that movie. I mean, one of our biggest successes within our great common market has been Pathan recently.
Yeah.
And there were people who wanted to shut it down. Why? For heaven's sake. If a story is real, it appeals to the audience will accept it. If it is a bad story, it will fall by.
Yeah, that goes for...
Who are we to scare people?
Yeah, that goes also for Kashmir Files.
To compulsively watch something.
Yeah, I mean, that goes for Kashmir Files. If the story is compelling, people will watch it, they'll appreciate it, and let's not try to sort of block it, etc. I think those points are very well made. I just wish, viewers, people would be a lot less pessimistic in our country. We are constantly being told by politicians, this, that we can't stand each other, that, you know, where our geography ends and the other begins, we're different, and this, that, the other, and we all need to... Well, I think that's all bunkum. And today, we should really, really celebrate, as Mr. Babu has said, as Nizar Bhai has said, as Kasturi Shankar has said, Mr. Iyer, even Mr. Hegre, all saying that, look, we're one, we've got a great story, let's tell it in our different languages, in our beautiful languages to the whole world, and let's win them over. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I stick with the art theme tonight, viewers. I spin off it a little bit. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's just move on. I'm sticking with the art theme, but with a twist, viewers. A scandal being investigated by the Enforcement Directorate allegedly involving one of India's greatest master artists, M.F. Hussain, a painting. The Gandhi family and an under-investigation banker has become a case study for one of the world's premier anti-money laundering watchdogs. Yes, it sounds bizarre, viewers, but in my hand, I have this report. This report that has been put out by the FATF. And this report is called Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing in Art and Antiquities Market, February 2023. Now, viewers, it's a dubious distinction earned by the Congress. And it is bringing back one of the key accusations dogging the Congress since its UPA years, that it has mastered the, quote, art of Hawala, unquote. That's what is being said. Indeed, the FATF, viewers, this is an organization that is a watchdog globally for anti-terrorism, financing, and of course money laundering. And this has flagged an alleged art for kickbacks deal between jailed Yes Bank promoter Rana Kapoor and prominent Gandhi family member Priyanka Vadra in the year 2010. Now, since the investigative agencies are probing the case, I'm not here sitting in judgment, neither is Times Now, but the Financial Action Task Force. Remember, Pakistan is on its global grey list. It was on its black list also. It's a very credible organization. It's an anti-corruption watchdog. It has focused on this as a case study, this deal, alleged deal and made it a case study on money laundering. In the report, the FATF alludes to Kapoor and how he purchased mediocre art from a politician and in turn paid huge kickbacks through banking channels. It asserts that the price paid was not for art, but rather was in the form of a bribe to extract from the government of the day, the UPA, prestigious Padma Bhushan award. Remember, the Enforcement Directorate in its charge sheet had mentioned Kapoor's alleged confession in which he stated how he had bought a painting from then ruling party, Congress, very top member of the Gandhi family in 2010. Because if he wouldn't have, it was possible that he may not have actually been in the favor of the Gandhis and the Congress party and wouldn't have won a Padma award that he was hankering after. Rana Kapoor also alleged that the late Ahmed Patel, a close associate of Sonia Gandhi, told him that his name would only be considered for the Padma Bhushan award if he actually purchased this art with illicit proceeds. The BJP has jumped upon the FATF listing, saying there's just no end to the Congress's corruption model. This is what Anurag Thakur said. Of course, the Congress very soon after returned fire and said that Rana Kapoor was being forced to say all of these things to get off the hook by the Modi government. Listen into this exchange.
एक के बाद दूसरा भ्रष्टाचार का मॉडल कांग्रेस का बाहर आता है। तो यूपीए की सरकार में दबाव बनाया गया यूपीए के एक मंत्री के द्वारा, और वो पेंटिंग से जो 2 करोड़ रुपए आए विदेश में किसके ऊपर खर्च किए गए? क्या पैसे के बदले पद्मा भूषण? क्या पेंटिंग के बदले पद्मा भूषण? देश को बेचने का कोई मौका आप लोगों ने नहीं छोड़ा होगा। मिस्टर आर कौन है?
मोदी जी पहले यह बताएं कि यस बैंक के राणा कपूर से उनका क्या संबंध है। जब लोन बुक उस समय जब सत्ता में आए थे तो 55,000 करोड़ था और 2019 तक 2,41,000 करोड़ से ज़्यादा हो गया और मोदी जी के कार्यक्रमों को स्पॉन्सर भी किया है उस व्यक्ति ने, राणा कपूर ने। तो पहले इसका जवाब दें।
Well, viewers, familiar war of words, but that doesn't sort of absolve the original sin. Here you have a situation where the Enforcement Directorate has alleged that there was an underhand deal and it has got picked up by the FATF. Now, viewers, the FATF is not an adjunct of the Enforcement Directorate or the Modi government. It's a very credible organization that put Pakistan on the grey list. Pakistan is, of course, now off the grey list. But it wouldn't have done so, viewers, had there not been definitive proof. So, obviously, it has taken at face value the ED's investigation. And here, on page 22 of the FATF report, clause 59 and box 7, it says, case study, purchase art with illicit proceeds and use art of no value to pay kickbacks. Sanjay Jha, representing the Congress here, is also an author. We have Mr. Kamruddin Chaudhary with us. And I just, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, I just want to ask you, this is a, what can one say? This is a huge slap across the Congress's face that constantly comes out and says that, look, we are being persecuted by the Modi government falsely for corruption. Here you have the FATF. Surely you can't now doubt the FATF. FATF went after Pakistan and we were also happy that it did so. So either the FATF is completely without credibility and therefore Pakistan is being persecuted by India falsely, or it has great credibility and there is truth to what is going on.
No, Rahul, permit me a few minutes to reply to your accusation that the Congress party is
not
involved
mine.
in all this.
No, not mine, not mine, not mine. No, Kamruji, not mine. It is the FATF.
Yeah, let me expose it.
It is the FATF. Please, you can expose the FATF. Remember, if you are exposing the FATF, you are also letting Pakistan off the hook.
Yeah, let me. No, I'm not. No, I'm not exposing FATF.
Right.
You know, you must understand, this is the same page 22 that we have shown to the public.
Yeah.
This is the same box 7, and the lower part that I'm showing here is the source is India. I hope everybody has seen this. Now coming to the basic point out here.
What is
FATF?
It happened in India, no?
FATF is the anti-money laundering and the counter... No, wait. Here is the catch. You are trying to link Rana Kapoor with our leader Priyanka Gandhi ji. That's what I'm going to expose out here. Now all these instances, the case study that has been put forward to the FATF have been forwarded by the intergovernment, by the government of India, because FATF itself is an intergovernmental organization wherein it uses the case studies of different countries to suggest measures and remedies for anti-money laundering and the counter-terrorist financing. That is the basic role of the FATF. Now when you come to the Yes Bank founder Rana Kapoor's statement that he has confessed to the ED, wherein he said that Murli Deora, the late Murli Deora, I cannot comment on him because he is no more there. According to Murli Deora ji, he was pressurized to purchase a painting, and supposedly Rana Kapoor said after he had purchased the painting for 2 crores, it was used for the treatment of Sonia Gandhi ji. Now here lies the catch. Do you find any link with Priyanka Gandhi ji and Yes Bank Rana Kapoor? I doubt it. The ED is still investigating it. Let the truth come out. Point number 1. Point number 2. We have got the similar instances of Mamata Banerjee purchasing painting from Sharada accused Sudipto Sen for 2 crore rupees. Sudipto Sen was purchasing from Mamata Banerjee for 2 crore rupees. That was a proved instance of corruption, my dear.
Okay.
We have got the Prime Minister of India getting 10 lakhs rupees monogrammed suit from somebody. We have got the Adanis getting favor from the government without no investigation. Now you come to this a report in which it is clearly stated the source is the Indian government.
Sir,
now if the Indian government is biased,
one minute.
Then why did not it pinpoint the PNB scam?
Okay,
why
one second. This is about art.
PNB scam of the Nirav Modi scam.
Okay, can I come in?
That was a bigger scam.
Can I come in? Mr. Kamruji. Kamruji, this entire report is about money laundering and terrorist financing in the art and antiquities market. That is why the PNB scam has not been included. Secondly, there are other case studies. The source is France. There is one other case study using multiple bulk cash transactions to purchase art. Source is France. Then there is another one. The source is United States. Case study receiving high value art as bribe. There is even by Latvia. So this is just part and parcel of how they have collected this information, but they wouldn't have put it out. Are you saying that the FATF is not a credible organization, that it also dances to Modi's tune? Is that what you're saying, Kamruji? Why is it including this?
No, whatever. No, the FATF is a credible organization.
Then if it's credible, can you imagine that Priyanka Gandhi's role in this particular alleged role, as the ED is saying, has now made it to a list where countries like Pakistan are flagged? Can you believe it?
No, the case study,
Kamruji, even the Congress party has not denied.
By the Indian government after.
Oh my God, he's going in circles.
No, I'm not denying anything out here. The case study that has been given out here has been given by the BJP
Let me also tell you, viewers. Let me also tell you.
This is a clear case of bias.
Kamruji,
when you have other cases.
Kamruji. This is a report about money laundering and terror financing in the art and antiquities market. The ED, in fact, let me tell you, viewers, the FATF is not hiding anything from the world. It is not even convicting anybody. It has made it quite clear that the trial is ongoing and Mr. A, he is named as Mr. A, Rana Kapoor, has been in judicial custody since March 2020. And it also doesn't name Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, but it lists this as a case study of how money laundering is done through the sale and purchase of art and the antiquities. And it says, let me tell you, Mr. A purchased a piece of art from the close relative of a member of the ruling political party at the time for US $264,000. Now, Sanju Verma, are you today infiltrating the FATF with your agents, with ED agents, to plant stories against your opponents? I'm asking you because this is a charge that you are cherry picking. You are planting stories. And you are doing it even though there have been no convictions in this matter to fix your opponents. Answer.
You know, Rahul, this is a very serious matter and I don't want to make light of it. But I'm sure you're aware that, you know, Mulla ki daud masjid tak. And I think in the rebuttal to your question, what Kamruzaman Chaudhary desperately tried to give but ended up contradicting himself are a few facts which your audience needs to know. A, the Financial Action Task Force is not the handmaiden of the Modi government. It is an intergovernmental body set up in July 1989. And let me tell you one very important thing. Before you cast aspersions on the bona fides and the credibility of the FATF, you need to know that it is currently being headed by a gentleman called T. Raja Kumar, who served in the Ministry of Home Affairs in Singapore and with the Singapore Police and with the Interpol for more than 35 years. And he has nothing to do with the BJP. He has nothing to do with the Modi government. Let's try and join the dots which are non-existent. Point number 3. What Milind Deora, the son of Murli Deora, of course, we all know he expired in 2014. He is on record saying that while there were non-political appointments that were promised to Rana Kapoor, including the Padma Bhushan, they could not come clean on those promises, but they kept telling him कि कुछ ना कुछ तो जरूर करेंगे, and he was sort of dismissed by saying that, you know, the money that was taken from him, roughly $2,64,000
right,
to be precise, that was used in treating Sonia Gandhi. Either which way you look at it, how is it that a businessman was promised one of the highest civilian awards?
Yes.
How is it that a businessman was forced to purchase,
you know,
was it to hide illegal proceeds?
Sanju Verma.
Was it to launder money?
Sanju Verma, one fact.
Illegal proceeds of the Congress party. That is the moot question.
There is one fact we are all forgetting, viewers, and it's on your screens right now. It's an exclusive fact, and I can put it across as that with a watermark. There is a letter to Mr. Rana Kapoor written on June 4th, 2010. And this letter, viewers, was written by Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. It's on your screens. And what is the subject? It says, late Shri Rajiv Gandhi's painting by Shri M.F. Hussain. And let me read it to you. Sanjay Jha, please listen very carefully. Next question will come to you. Mr. Iyer is already sharpening his knife.
Letter before, Rahul.
You have read the letter. So, Mr. Kamru Chaudhary, the transaction took place because it is being recognized by Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, and she is thanking profusely Mr. Rana Kapoor. And this is what it is. This is further to your letter dated June 3, 2010 on the above subjects. Thank you for purchasing the portrait of my father, Shri Rajiv Gandhi, painted by Shri M.F. Hussain, which was presented to him in 1985 at the Congress Party's centenary celebrations, and is presently in my ownership and possession. I acknowledge receipt of your letter dated June 3, 2010 as well as your payment. Payment by check number 135343 dated June 3, 2010 drawn on your HSBC account number 0193848900006 in the amount of rupees 2 crores, representing the full and final payment towards subject painting. I trust you're aware of the historical value of this work and ensure its placement in an environment that benefits its stature. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. The dots are being connected here on live television, Sanjay Jha. Here is the letter. Here is a smoking gun. And then, of course, there are confessions by Mr. Rana himself.
Okay, Rahul, just give me 1 minute. Don't interrupt me and I will tell you why this is all nothing but the typical BJP's vicious, malicious, malignant propaganda. 1 minute and this debate is as good as over. Number one, firstly, is M.F. Hussain a mediocre painter? I think the BJP has to be charlatans to call MF Hussain a mediocre painter. Number two, or the investigating agency, which are puppets in the hands of this government. Number two, very important, if this was a fraud, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra would be actually writing a transparent letter acknowledging details, thanking Rana Kapoor, signing off on a letter. I mean, even a child watching your program will know that this is nothing but a whole lot of focus rubbish. Point number three, just hear me out. The fundamental point, did Rana Kapoor get a Padma Bhushan? He didn't. That's the third puncture of this entire incongruous argument.
Now he said that you gypped him even of that. उसने पैसे भी दिए, वो भी नहीं दिया.
Rahul ji,
what kind of demented logic is that? What kind of demented logic?
Okay, one second, Ms. Verma, let him finish. Let Sanjay Jha finish.
Rahul, you are being very generous.
No, I have to be. Let him finish. Please, I asked him a question. He's responding. Please let him finish.
Rahul, you are being very indulgent.
No. Let me be indulgent. Let me be indulgent.
Very indulgent with Sanjay Jha for reasons best known to you. I'm sorry.
One second. Just give me 30 seconds, Ms. Verma. Yeah, finish your point.
You are very indulgent with the BJP.
I was so indulgent with you. You made 3 points. He's made 2.
Oh my God, Rahul, please.
Rahul ji,
you are never indulgent with Sanju Verma.
राहुल जी जरा सुनिए 2 मिनट के लिए.
Yes.
आजकल भारत भर में, दुनिया भर में चर्चा हो रही है. आजकल तेरे मेरे प्यार के चर्चे हर जबान पर, सबको मालूम है और सबको खबर होगी. And that is what Adani ji and Modi ji the great. The markets have answered कि सच्चाई क्या है. जरा
Oh, Sanjay Jha, please. You're spinning a yarn. I am talking about facts which are recorded in letters. Facts now. 1 minute. Come on. Let's not. Okay, you need to put down. Okay, one second. You see, you show us one smoking gun. You show us one bit of documented proof to join the dots that you try to join every night between Mr. Modi and Mr. Adani. Remember, you tried to do it. 1 second. You tried to do it. 1 second before the 2019 elections. 1 second.
I need to
1 second, Sanjay Jha. Before the. Okay, I'm not going to shout, please. It's not fair. I'm not going to shout. Please, that's not fair. 1 minute. Viewers, 1 second. This exercise in joining dots between leading business houses like the Ambanis and the Modi government. Now you're not letting me speak. Now, is that fair? Sanjay ji, is that fair? That's not fair. Okay. So the Congress tried to join. Now 1 second. Before I come out to you, Ms. Verma, I want to bring in Mr. Mitra. He's also been waiting. He hasn't had a word edgeways. Just 30 seconds. Mr. Mitra, now, the Congress tried this strategy of using Rafale, some vague researchers in the West. You see, the FATF is fake. The FATF that cornered Pakistan and did India a yeoman service, denying them international funding because of their listing as a terror exporting country, today is being doubted by the Congress party. In a sense, it's even giving Pakistan a clean sheet. But media part investigation and some shadowing. Now, please, 1 minute.
And we know the ED's.
Why didn't you let anyone speak? Why don't you let anyone speak? And some person who is being sued in the United States for bilking investors is being believed. Now, I don't understand this. They're selective about even their sources. How does this work, Mr. Mitra?
So, Rahul, I don't know about, the Congress thinking, because that's a sort of ajuba all in its own. They've come down to God knows how many seats with zero introspection and zero accountability. And they continue doing what they're doing. So let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the art and what the context here is. Art is one of the most sought after commodities in the black market for money laundering. Because you can essentially buy art, stack it up in a container somewhere in Singapore port or something. It'll keep appreciating in value. And in fact, art and antiquities trade is one of the biggest sources of terror financing around, simply because of their lack of traceability and the fact that they keep appreciating in value over. It's a very safe market to invest in. Now, why is this particular example been brought about? Because of the fungibility of it. It can be used for any kinds of purposes later on in any way possible. The problem here is that an entire state machinery was used in order to coerce a businessman to buy it with the promise of consideration. Whether that consideration was delivered or not is irrelevant.
Allegedly.
Right.
Yeah.
However, let me show you some other consideration that was delivered. This gentleman in question, Rana Kapoor, made a whole load of illegal loans, which violated even his own banking rules to another chap called Gautam, I forget, Gautam of the Avanta group. Now, the thing there was, this should have automatically triggered all the regulatory mechanisms which should have gotten in and said, why have you given this loan? That was not done. Why? Now, see, you can keep saying, oh, SEBI didn't investigate Adani, this, that. Well, you know, I mean, what ground are you on asking that? I mean, it's a valid question to ask, sure. But it's the same thing here. Except here,
quid pro quo happened in another context.
The problem here is you have a direct quid pro quo link to the Gandhi family, wherein a whole set of expectations has been attached. That he did not get the Padma Vibhushan is
if not a quid pro quo, a conflict of interest that looms large, Kamruji. Conflict of interest. And this man was allowed to do whatever he did, as Mr. Iyer is suggesting, and for which he is stewing still in jail, though not convicted.
Can I make a quick point?
Yeah, coming to you last. Yes, ma'am.
No. Rahul, I can't understand. Yeah, Rahul, I can't understand what is the link between Priyanka Gandhiji, who was never a part of the government, who was never a part of the parliament, who was never a part of the ruling
that allows for deniability. Who knows? I don't know. Sanju Verma, the question to you is very quick. No, you will keep, sir, the denial she has admitted that she bought the...
Just 10 seconds.
Sir, she's admitted that she sold the painting. Come on. Now, whether there was a quid pro quo, I don't know. But that's the question I want to ask Miss Verma. Miss Verma, it's been 4 years. It's been 4 years. There is no conviction. Why there is no conviction? Enforcement Directorate is known for its 0.5% rate of conviction. Is that one of these cases also? There will be no conviction. Sanjuji.
You know, Rahul, let's be very clear that just before, COVID took a serious turn in India, in 2020 March, Rana Kapoor, under the most stringent provisions of the Anti-Corruption Act and PMLA Act, was arrested. Not only Rana Kapoor, but his daughter Roshni Kapoor, his wife Bindu Kapoor, his other 2 daughters and his 2 son-in-laws. They have all been charge-sheeted. He was given an interim bail only recently in 2022 November because he cited very poor health. That is the only reason he was given an interim and a conditional bail. And I just want to tell one thing. People who try and link Prime Minister Modi to the Adani and the Ambanis, you should know one thing. Today, when the entire world is discussing the collapse of Signature Bank and Silicon Valley Bank, thank God for Narendra Modi that we rescued Yes Bank in March 2020. Today it is a healthy bank, and do you know something, Rahul? Something which no channel talks about. Yes Bank was given a special liquidity infusion of 50,000 crores by SBI, and Yes Bank returned that entire sum by September 2020. Today it is functioning in isolation, hale and hearty, without being a handmaiden of the State Bank of India. So don't sit here and give a broadcast to the Prime Minister.
Okay, so 1 second. I'm just lower everyone's faders. Viewers, I just need to wrap out of this. It's very, very important. Viewers, today the FATF has listed this or flagged this as a transaction which is representative of, as it claims, viewers, not me, money laundering and terrorist financing in the art and antiquities market. Now, viewers, we are constantly talking about our democratic deficit, etc., that is bringing India a bad name. Viewers, corruption. Corruption is bringing India a bad name, and unfortunately, in this case, it's linked to the Congress. Viewers, I would really hope that the ED concludes its investigation. There is a conviction. Otherwise, there will be people like this every night who will say that, look, we told you this is just a witch hunt. Convictions need to happen. I'll leave it at that.
हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं मोहुल, who's founder and CEO of Matter. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So Mohul, we've already seen this bike. I still don't know what you guys going to call it right now, but hopefully, we're going to know about it in a couple of months, I believe, and more details that we already know about specifications and what you are offering with this bike. But उसके अलावा कुछ और चीज़ें हैं जिनकी डिटेल्स अभी आनी बाकी हैं. So इस बाइक को लेकर थोड़ा टाइमलाइन, इफ यू कैन एक्सप्लेन किस तरह का टाइमलाइन रहने वाला है एंड कब इसका ऑफिशियली लॉन्च आप करने वाले हैं.
Definitely. So first thing is at the Auto Expo we have also showcased the 6 kilowatt version of the bike. So at launch we had a 5 kilowatt version. Now we also have a 6 kilowatt version of the bike. And in terms of timeline, in the next 30 days we will be giving out the spec variants and pricing to the larger market. We will be opening up bookings for the Matter motorbike this quarter, and deliveries summer में शुरू हो जाने वाली है.
Summer में शुरू हो जाएंगी. So एक चीज़ जो बहुत ही टेक्नोलॉजी का इंटरेस्टिंग है इस बाइक के बारे में, इसमें गियर है.
Yep.
इलेक्ट्रिक बाइक होने के साथ साथ इसमें वो आइस वाला अपने एसेंस और बहुत बड़ा एसेंस इसमें बचा के रखा है. सो वो कैसे आपने उस पर काम किया एंड हाउ डिड यू थॉट अबाउट दिस कि ये अगर हम इसमें इंक्लूड कर पाते हैं गियर शिफ्ट वाला पैटर्न, सो वो कैसे स्टार्ट हुआ? हाउ
So when we in 2019 when we were starting out, we spoke to a lot of consumers कि electric bike क्यों नहीं खरीदते. In 2019 there were only a handful of players who were giving motorcycles as a product, and what we realized is that motorcycling is emotion driven. You name your bike, you work with it, you control it, you become one with your bike, and from there the common theme came, control नहीं मिल रहा, feel नहीं आ रही. And obviously once we started translating कि हमें क्या सुनाई दे रहा है और कस्टमर को क्या चाहिए, and we've spoken to over 500 customers on this. Clear indication, gear तो चाहिए. And that's when we said कि let's make something that the consumers truly want. ऐसा नहीं कि जो टेक्नोलॉजी है उसी को वापस पैकेज करके दे देते हैं. Let's make it. तो वहाँ से when the journey started, we had to make our own motors. We had to make the gearboxes, the batteries, the electronics, the entire vehicle from scratch.
And nobody would have, I believe nobody would have thought of जितने भी EVs, two wheelers इंडिया में अब आ रहे हैं, ये गियर वाला किसी ने, I think
we are the first in India to have actually put gears on a electric bike or an electric two wheeler.
So I mean ये एक चीज़ है जो स्टैंड आउट करती है मैटर को बाकी सभी EVs या और भी जो ब्रांड्स ऑलरेडी मौजूद है मार्केट में. इसके अलावा आई हैव सीन वहाँ पे एक कॉन्सेप्ट खड़ा है एंड देयर इज वन कॉन्सेप्ट ओवर देयर एंड दिस वन आई रियली लव इट राइट नाउ.
आ चुका है पोको X5 Pro का बॉक्स टेबल पे. अब इसको जल्दी से करेंगे अनबॉक्स. ब्लैक और येलो कलर का ये बॉक्स है, जो ज्यादातर पोको के स्मार्टफोन पे आपको येलो कलर, जो इसका सिग्नेचर कलर है, वो दिखाई देगा. Sometimes it is really tricky to take the tapes off, so let me try it with my nails. One tape down successfully. गाइज, ये जो फीलिंग है ना अनबॉक्स करने वाली, ये काफी ही मजेदार लगती है. जब भी आप कोई नया गैजेट अनबॉक्स करते हैं तो मजा तो आता है. जैसे कि यहाँ देखेंगे बॉक्स के पीछे की तरफ बहुत सारे डिटेल्स लिखे हैं, बॉक्स के बारे में फीचर्स लिखे हैं, वो दिखाएंगे और उसके बारे में बात करेंगे जब फोन हाथ में आ जाएगा. इनसाइड द बॉक्स यू गेट दिस लिटिल पेपर बॉक्स एज वेल, जिसमें ज्यादातर पेपर वर्क और प्रोटेक्टिव केस ही होता है. लाइक आई सेड, वही मिला है हमको. यहाँ पर एक छोटा सा मैनुअल टाइप है. यहाँ पर फोन को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए आपको मिलता है ट्रांसपेरेंट प्रोटेक्टिव केस, और साथ में सिम इजेक्टर टूल, विच इज वेरी बेसिक. अब मुझे बॉक्स के अंदर दिखाई दे रहा है हमारा डिवाइस, जिसके बारे में ये वीडियो बना रहे हैं. उफ, वेरी वाइब्रेंट एंड पेपी येलो कलर. Just like the box, the smartphone also boasts the combination of black, or call it dark gray, along with yellow. और कॉम्प्लीमेंटिंग डिजाइन आपको फ्रेम्स पर भी दिखेगा। जो कलर आपको यहाँ कैमरा मॉड्यूल पर दिख रहा है, पीछे ये जो पैच पर दिख रहा है, वही आपको उसी कलर का फ्रेम दिखाई देगा विद येलो एक्सेंट्स। वेट की बात करें तो अच्छा है, लाइट वेट है, और यहाँ पे जो येलो है दिस इज लिटिल बिट डल, नॉट एज वाइब्रेंट एज द बॉक्स और प्रॉपर येलो। वैसे तो मैट फिनिशिंग है, लेकिन ये जो कलर है इसके अंदर हल्का सा ग्लिटर आपको दिखाई देता है। फ्लैशी नहीं है, अच्छा है। इसको साइड में रखते हैं, अभी ऑन भी करेंगे और उसके बाद स्मार्टफोन के बारे में बात करेंगे। पहले देखते हैं
Gentlemen, Rahul Gandhi's London strike has sparked off a dangle back home. It was fireworks in Parliament today, just a day after Prime Minister Modi singed Rahul Gandhi for bashing Bharat in Videsh. Today, a battery of NDA ministers slammed the Wayanad Member of Parliament for claiming that democracy is in danger in India and even seeking foreign intervention to get back and restore India's democracy. The Modi Sarkar made it clear that it will not tolerate anti-India raga on Videshi soil. The only demand was Rahul Gandhi maafi mango. Listen in to the war of words.
श्री राहुल गांधी जो इसी सदन के सांसद हैं, राहुल गांधी ने लंदन में जाकर भारत को बदनाम करने की कोशिश की है और कहा है कि भारत में लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था पूरी तरह से तहस नहस हो रही है और विदेशी ताकतों को आकर यहां पर भारत के लोकतंत्र को बचाना चाहिए कि भारत की गरिमा पर, भारत की प्रतिष्ठा पर उन्होंने गहरी चोट पहुंचाने की कोशिश की है। अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं आपसे यह मांग करता हूं कि पूरे सदन के द्वारा उनके इस व्यवहार को कंडेम किया जाना चाहिए और उनको ये आपके द्वारा निर्देश दिया जाना चाहिए कि संसद के फोरम पर आकर वह क्षमा याचना करें। अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं आपसे अनुरोध करना चाहता हूं।
इस सदन के एक सदस्य श्रीमान राहुल गांधी विदेश के धरती पे जाके एक तो स्पीकर के ऊपर अस्पर्शन, कास्ट अस्पर्शन ऑफ द स्पीकर, चेयर के ऊपर आरोप लगाते हैं सर। उनका माइक पूरा चालू था सर, शुरू था। जब आपने उनका पूरा मौका दिया, उन्होंने पूरा बोला। मैं इनसे पूछना चाहता हूं, when the fundamental rights are suspended during the emergency, who was in power sir? Democracy का क्या हो गया था?
From democracy khatre mein hai to minorities targeted, Rahul Gandhi launched a multi-pronged attack on the Modi Sarkar over the past few days ever since he set foot on UK soil. Listen in to Rahul Gandhi's charges against the Modi government.
How would you react if democracy suddenly disappeared in Europe? Right? You'd be shocked and you'd be like, oh my God, that's a massive blow to democracy. Well, how would you react if something, a structure 3.5 times Europe suddenly went non-democratic? Right? That's happened already. That's not something that is going to happen in the future. That's already happened. So-called defenders of democracy, which are the United States, European countries, seem to just be oblivious that a huge chunk of the democratic model has come undone, right? Which is a real problem.
That an Indian political leader can give a talk in Cambridge University, Harvard University, but he can't give a talk in India, in a university in India. Right? And the reason is that our government simply does not allow any idea of the opposition, any concept of the opposition to be discussed.
The opposition chimed in to back Rahul and even echoed his charges. Leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha and Congress chief Mallikarjun Kharge tore into the government and claimed that democracy was being destroyed and there was a dictatorship under Prime Minister Modi. He even cited the Prime Minister's speech in China in Seoul in 2015 to claim that the Prime Minister had insulted India and its people on foreign soil in the past. So why point fingers at Rahul Gandhi now? Kharge was referring to the Prime Minister's 2015 address to the Indian community in Shanghai, in which the Prime Minister claimed that the country's image has changed under his leadership and that citizens were earlier not very happy about representing India. Listen in to the Congress's charge.
डेमोक्रेसी को और संविधान को कोई जगह मोदी जी के राज्य में नहीं है और बीजेपी के राज्य में नहीं है। मोदी साहब, मैं आपको 4 उदाहरण देता हूं, ऐसे तो बहुत है। शंघाई में क्या कहा कि अर्लियर यू फेल्ट ashamed of being born in India. Now you feel proud to represent the country. Indians abroad had all hoped for a change in the government last year. ये किसने कहा? मोदी जी ने कहा। और प्रधानमंत्री ये कहते हैं देश की मर्यादा चले गई। अगर डेमोक्रेसी और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पे अगर बात करते हैं किसी कॉलेज में, किसी सेमिनार में, तो आप उनको टोकते हैं और हम देशद्रोही बनते हैं।
The way the parliament rules are broke and opposition parties are not given the mic. What honorable speaker told in some other foreign land day before yesterday, he has proved it that we are right again today, because he has not given the mic to the opposition leader Mr. Adhir Ranjit Chaudhary, who wanted to speak on that issue. For it is a very unfortunate day for Parliament today.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings me to the legitimate question on the Newshour tonight. Who's sullying India's democracy on foreign soil?
In the Newshour at 9, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And joining the debate tonight, Shehzad Poonawalla, national spokesperson of the BJP, Ishkaran Bhandari, advocate, Lokesh Jinder, leader of the Congress party, Kartik Reddy, spokesperson of the BRS. But my first question goes to Tehseen Poonawalla, Congress supporter, a man who holds the Congress above everything else. Tehseen Poonawalla, I want to ask you tonight, and please tell me if the Congress really wants foreign countries like the UK, like other countries in Europe and the United States to intervene and bring democracy back in India. Isn't that the most shameful statement for an Indian to make abroad, and especially somebody who's taken his oath on the Indian Constitution and represents democracy in the Parliament of India?
Namaskar, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I hold India above everything else. India comes first for me. I will not retort to your answer by quoting how the Honorable Prime Minister humiliated my country by saying nobody was proud to be Indian before he became Prime Minister, which I think as Prime Minister is very shameful. I will not go into that whataboutery, because what the Prime Minister did, I expect that the Prime Minister will not hold his office to high esteem. We don't expect that of the BJP. But I expect a lot of Rahul Gandhi. So what did Rahul Gandhi say in the very same interview? Mr. Rahul Gandhi, whom I support, said that Indian institutions will take care of themselves. But when he asked the British government to intervene, he said it in context to the raids on BBC, where he said freedom of speech must be sacrosanct. He said it in a different context, which is completely, don't expect the BJP to take something out of context. But 2 questions to the BJP spokesperson, the very erudite BJP spokesperson. Today when we say, and the most honorable Prime Minister says rightly so, that India is the mother of all democracies, in the mother of all democracies, the leader of an opposition party made a speech for 50 minutes. You expunged 45 minutes of the speech, while the most honorable Prime Minister, who uses Parliament as a rubber stamp, spoke about the leader in the opposition, his father, why his father's surname is XYZ and not ABC. That speech is not expunged. And when you pass bills in Parliament, when the opposition is asking for a division of vote, that is not taking Parliament for granted. And when you topple elected governments, that is not taking democracy for granted and not an attack on democracy. So my request to the BJP...
So because the BBC is raided, because the Congress is asked questions by ED, CBI, so you will go and condemn Indian democracy on foreign soil. Is that the justification?
Was not condemned. Indian democracy was not condemned the way the Honorable Prime Minister condemned India. Indian democracy needs to be strengthened.
When questions are not only raised about the Parliament, the muting of mics and the courts in India, what more is left, Shehzad Poonawalla? Is there anything left really to insult?
First of all, Navika, it's great to have you back on the 9 PM News Hour show, and let me begin by saying परस्पर विरोधे तु वयम पंचशते शतम परायस्तु विग्रह प्राप्ते वयम पंचाधिक शतम। मतलब जब पांडव और कौरव, तहसीन जैसे कौरव लड़ते हैं एक दूसरे के खिलाफ तो 5 बनाम 100 होते हैं, पर जब एक विदेशी खतरा होता है तब पांडव और कौरव भी एक हो जाते हैं और 105 हो जाते हैं। इसी मूल भावना के साथ वाजपेयी जी नरसिम्हा राव के आग्रह पर यूनाइटेड नेशंस जाकर पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ लड़े थे उस मंच पर आज का सांसद ऐसा है राहुल गांधी कि उस ब्रिटेन की भूमि पर आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के समय पर जाकर कहते हैं कि यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स, यूके, यूरोप शुड इंटरवीन, और उनका स्टेटमेंट मैं प्ले कर सकता हूं पर आई एम श्योर दे विल बिलीव व्हाट आई एम सेइंग। आई हैव द स्टेटमेंट विद मी। राहुल गांधी सेज आई एम शॉक्ड दैट द सो कॉल्ड प्रोटेक्टर्स ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी आर नॉट इंटरवीनिंग एंड दे आर इन oblivion when an entire chunk of democracy has collapsed. This means he is asking for intervention. It's not the first time. Nicholas Burns के साथ इंटरव्यू करते समय he said please intervene Nicholas Burns। अरे मणिशंकर अय्यर तो पाकिस्तान गए थे ना कि आइए और स्वागत है आपका, मोदी को हटाइए, हमें लाइए। So this is attack on national sovereignty of India, and couple of quick points I want to make. First of all, you know Tehseen Poonawalla is a serial liar. This man had come and lied about कि word ban कर दिया, word ban कर दिया। It turned out to be a compilation list of the assemblies had expunged some words. That was the thing. Then you remember they did a fake story. Oh look, Parliament में अब धरना करना मना है। This was a circular which was going around from 2004 onwards that this is the Parliamentary House Security Circular that is common for all sessions. But finally I want to ask, if BBC के ऊपर कार्रवाई is the touchstone, Tehseen, when was BBC banned in this country? Please tell me under whose government? Who brought the anti-press freedom bill? Who brought the anti-defamation bill? Who is the one who applied emergency? अरे यहाँ तक तो नाविका कुमार को छोड़ो, किशोर कुमार तक के गाने नहीं आने दिए आपने। और आप आज कह रहे हैं मीडिया फ्रीडम पर। सुप्रीम कोर्ट को कैसे तहस नहस किया। बहरुल इस्लाम वाज अ जज। एक जज था जो कभी जज था, फिर लोकसभा एमपी था, अब इश्करन बैठे वो बताएंगे जब जजशिप खत्म हो गई तो रिटायर होने के बाद सुप्रीम कोर्ट जज बने और उसके बाद तुरंत उनको लोकसभा चुनाव लड़वा दिया। ये बात करेंगे इलेक्शन कमीशन की। नवीन चावला के बारे में तो पता ही है नाविका जी, आपने तो ट्रैक किया इलेक्शन कमीशन को। गोपाला स्वामी सिटिंग सीईसी राइट्स अ लेटर सेइंग दैट दिस मैन इज अनफिट टू बी एन इलेक्शन कमिश्नर। तहसीन पूनावाला, इंस्टीट्यूशंस की बात आप ना करें, आपके लिए तो परिवार तंत्र ही लोकतंत्र है, जैसे इंडिया वाज ऑलवेज इक्वल टू इंदिरा।
Well, let me ask Mr. Lokesh Jindal. Mr. Lokesh Jindal, the fact is that you or your party, in your urgency of putting and positioning yourself ahead of the 2024 elections, have forgotten the difference between opposition of policies and actually hate for a man. विरोध और घृणा का फर्क आपको खत्म हो चुका है। Because you don't like Modi, you say इनकी कब्र खुदेगी, मर जा मोदी, these are the slogans. And then you start even abusing the country which you represent. That is the question I'm asking. When you actually go on foreign soil and begin to seek intervention to save Indian democracy, I mean, how many people in the United Kingdom would actually be thinking that is this the country that fought for independence in 1947, today asking again for our intervention? आपने सर नहीं झुका दिया पूरे देश का?
Good evening, Navika. I think the term foreign soil has lost its relevance in the present context.
Oh,
now
okay.
Listen.
So you will go to the United Kingdom. You will go to London and ask the British to intervene because foreign oil has no. तो उनको East India Company को भी ले आइए. Why don't you ask then United Kingdom to become the so-called ombudsman of the Indian democracy? Is that what the Congress has in mind?
the very platform on which Prime Minister Modi or all our views are being shared, that is Twitter, is a foreign company. Google is foreign. YouTube is foreign. The very content that is aired globally today is a foreign platform. Tell me one thing, what difference does it make if views are being shared via a foreign platform or a foreign contest or some form of an event that is organized?
I don't know.
Every information that is shared today,
you are saying that India में बैठ के भी आप मांग सकते हो यूनाइटेड किंगडम और अमेरिका की मदद कि भाई बचा लो हमें, हम डूब रहे हैं.
कहाँ मदद मांगी है
आपने कहा इंटरवेंशन. The word intervention was used, my friend.
See, there was no. Please, you read the and you see the entire interview carefully, and even the lecture which was delivered by Rahul Gandhi. He clearly stated his views with respect to India. He clearly stated that in India, the democracy is slowly withering away. We are witnessing a fascist dictatorial regime in India. That's what he clearly articulated. Now, it doesn't make a difference if he is articulating in a foreign soil, physically being present over there, or from his home and sharing that content via some digital platform. What difference does it make? I mean, I'm really disappointed because today in the Parliament, BJP could have done better. It has lost all fuel. It has lost all sources to oppose. And a very lame form of an excuse a defense minister has come up with. Doesn't he even know that there are all foreign platforms available where views are being shared? I mean, Adani scam, which was unveiled to India, was from a foreign company. Now, foreign companies are coming. They are research think tanks, which are telling us, okay, your companies are indulging into scams. What your government is doing is told to us via foreign agencies, foreign investigative agencies. How can you say that we are not, there is something that is secret or there is a threat to Indian democracy? This is bizarre. I mean, it stands no substance at all. We are living in a globalized world.
You're seeking intervention and you're saying there is no substance in what he said. Let me please read out what Rahul Gandhi's statement actually said, and please be with me. Hold your thoughts for a moment. He says, how would you react if democracy suddenly disappeared in Europe? You would be shocked and you'd be like, oh my God, that's a massive blow to democracy. Well, how would you react if something, a structure 3.5 times Europe suddenly went non-democratic? Right? That's happened already. That's not something that is going to happen in the future. That's already happened. But there is no reaction. And you know, if we are talking about Europe, that's the thing that shocks me, that there is no reaction. तो क्या कह रहे हैं कि भाई यूरोप please react, please intervene. Shehzad, respond.
You read the entire statement, and Hindu has published the statement when he had a chat with Nicholas Burns. Rahul Gandhi questions US's silence on happenings in India, and he says that there's a wholesale capture of institutions in India and demands intervention of Nicholas Burns. अच्छा, बाकी सब तो छोड़ो, मणिशंकर अय्यर जाकर गए थे ना पाकिस्तान में, और बाकी वो छोड़िए. देखिए, एक व्यक्ति का विरोध करते करते देश विरोध में इस प्रकार से उतरा है. अभी इनके नेता सुखजिंदर रंधावा ने पता है क्या बोला है राजस्थान में? उन्होंने बोला है कि अगर आपको सत्ता में आना है तो मोदी को खत्म कर दो, मोदी खत्म होगा तब देश बचेगा. मोदी को खत्म करने की बात, ये मोदी को मार दो, प्रधानमंत्री को मार दो. कांग्रेस पार्टी आज इस प्रकार के मानसिक दिवालियेपन पर है कि एक तरफ तो वो ब्रिटेन जहां पर भारतीय मूल का व्यक्ति आज नेतृत्व दे रहा है, और उस समय जब 75 वर्ष आजादी के हम मना रहे हैं, तो जिस देश ने हम पर हुकूमत की उसका इंटरवेंशन आप मांगते हैं. लोकेश जिंदल, कम से कम देखिए, आपके पिताजी के साथ आपका झगड़ा होगा, क्या पड़ोसी को जाकर बोलेंगे? हम अपने बाप की शिकायत पड़ोसी के पास नहीं करते. हमारे देश का मामला है, हम लोकतंत्र का मामला अंदर सुलझा सकते हैं.
लोकेश जिंदल, when you talk about Parliament, you talk about lowering of or blanking out the mics. You know, it has been said by the deputy chairperson of Rajya Sabha, Harshvardhan ji, has also come out and said. He has come out and said that there has never been a practice to do that. Up now, he doesn't belong to any political party, but definitely not to the BJP. And the party that he came from is not a part of the NDA anymore. Are you saying that these things are things that should be complained to the United Kingdom? And when you say that courts in this country are under siege, do you realize what you are saying? Investments in India, jobs in India, all of that will come to a standstill because courts, if you call them, compromise. Do you realize the importance of the statement that is being made and the dangerous trajectory it can take?
Don't you think, Navika, the actions of the government are responsible for this particular response of the opposition party? Right from the farm laws, the manner in which Article 370 was implemented, Citizenship Amendment Act. Worst was, the Prime Minister was silent when the rapists of Shahbano, they were felicitated openly. Now that made a mockery out of Justice 2022. The entire nation burnt because of communal rights. Shehzad, please do not interject. Brother, I did not intervene when you were speaking.
Overturned her rights. आपके मुंह से सच निकल गया. सिगमंड फ्रॉइड
बिल्किस बानो और शाह बानो का फर्क जिस दिन आपको समझ आ जाएगा, आपको स्टेटमेंट्स ऑन इंडियन सॉइल, स्टेटमेंट्स ऑन इंडियन सॉइल एंड स्टेटमेंट्स ऑन इंग्लैंड सॉइल, you will understand, Lokesh Jindal. So take a break, get your thoughts together. Ishkaran Bhandari. You know, in this country, regularly elections are held. Just recently, the Congress won the elections in Himachal Pradesh. Is democracy still there?
Navika ji, firstly, I have to feel sympathy for Congress spokespeople because logic escapes Jupiter whenever they have to defend Rahul Gandhi, because be it foreign soil or be it Indian soil, you cannot defend what he says. So let us deal with it step by step. Firstly, we know the history of Manishankar Iyer going to Pakistan saying, "Inhe hatao, hame leke aao." We also know the history of Rahul Gandhi after he lost his election in Amethi, cannot believe that democracy is fair. Even though the only time democracy was in threat under emergency, the people of India voted out an extremely powerful Prime Minister from her own seat itself. So that is how strong and how grassroots the democracy is in India. But one point, because I find it very amusing, because we are having a full-scale praise for foreign intervention. When does US recognize human rights? When does Europe recognize human rights? When they discover oil and they find the people who are controlling oil are not doing business with them. Otherwise, Saudi Arabia is a democracy. And people who are not doing business with them, they have Arab Spring. That is well documented. So what are they even wanting? But another aspect, because today it is being praised that the rating agencies broke the Adani so-called scam. Silicon Valley Bank, the second biggest failure in US history, happens when Forbes 4 days ago is saying it's the best bank in US 5 years running, with deposits of $206 billion equivalent to roughly HDFC. This is the rating agencies of US. This is the BBC media. This is the New York Times media, where some Kashmiri Times editor writes an article in which her father had earlier said separatism is a factor in Kashmir, and Mr. Fai, a convicted ISI agent, was glorified. So these are the foreign publications, foreign platforms the Congress wants to go. My one-line suggestion for the betterment of democracy is, भैया बाहर वोट मांगने बंद कर दो, भारत के लोगों से वोट मांग लो, शायद अपनी सीट तो जीत जाओगे.
Well, let me get in Mr. Karthik Reddy. Mr. Karthik Reddy, you're smiling, but do you think this is a smiling matter? The question is not about political party lines. The question is about being an Indian and a country called India, which is being insulted abroad. Are we in 2023 in a position to go and tell foreign countries and their rulers that, bhai, we cannot protect our own democracy, come and intervene, please react, you also create a noise? You know, is this really something that any Indian should be doing, least of all somebody who's taken the oath of the Constitution of India?
Hello, Navika ji. I'm sorry that my smile irritated you, but the smile is, this is a smile of helplessness, especially regarding Lokesh Jindal, that he has to defend all that Rahul Gandhi does and does not do. Navika, the BRS party is in a tricky situation. We are behaving like what we expect the Congress party to behave. The meaning I said is, today we attended the joint press conference by the Congress party, led by the Congress party, because not out of what Rahul Gandhi has said, Navika. We have to realize that this country has been under occupation of the Britishers for at least 200 years, and our fight for independence has been very long. And how we love our independence, we love our independent movement. And whenever any country tries to push their agenda or any country tries to involve in our internal affairs, we Indians do not take this lightly. And Rahul Gandhi, who claims to come from a party of the independence movement, somehow fails to understand this, and that's why I'm smiling. Navika, I'm sorry that my smile has irritated you.
Not at all.
But the reason I'm smiling...
Not at all. Why should it irritate me? I'm just saying that if you find it a smiling matter, I don't, as an Indian, and I don't know why the BRS... why the BRS attends the same, opposition press meet and does not call out Rahul Gandhi insulting India in foreign land. Why don't you do that? If you're not impressed with Rahul Gandhi, why don't you say that?
We have just said it, ma'am. I just said it, that we are not impressed by what Rahul Gandhi said. We do not endorse what Rahul Gandhi has said abroad. We do not like it that he has called India whatnot in the British Parliament. What he should have said in this soil, in the soil of India itself, he said it outside the country. We do not lower ourselves in front of anybody else, and that's the basic thing that our parents taught. But everything said and done, what he has said is not wrong. The agencies are put to misuse. The democracy in this country is going awry. The parliament is not run the way it's supposed to be run. What he said is absolutely right, but he did not say it at the right place. That is the problem. And one more thing I want to tell the Congress party, Navika, there's just one simple thing. I'm trying to understand the mindset of the Congress party leadership and the Congress party itself. Reason, last 15-20 din se, if you notice what's happening in the country, the whole country is talking about the liquor policy of Delhi. Proudly, Congress spokespeople come on television, especially Mr. Pawan Khere ended up in Hyderabad. He said, "Hamare vaste ho raha ye pura, hum hi to complaint diye the." On one side, you make a big hue and cry that the agencies are putting to misuse. On the other side, your own spokespeople come out and say, "Ye to hamare vaste aur ye to baki ke dal pure corrupt hai." Make your stand, keep it clear. What is that you want to do? Please don't try to be the big boss of our parties. Try to be the big brother if you can. The single largest opposition party that you claim to be, behave like one. Today after all you have called us whatnot, your Pawan Khere called us whatnot, we attend your JPC because we want to be the big brothers. We want to be magnanimous towards you. Please return the courtesy back. We do not want your support.
So basically an alliance against ED and CBI should be formed. Alliance for India, not important for the moment. Shehzad.
नहीं, देखिए ऐसा है कि रेड्डी जी और कांग्रेस पार्टी का रिश्ता देखकर तो मुझे मेरे और मेरे भाई के रिश्ते की याद आ रही है. तो आई थिंक दिस इज लाइक, बट सी on a more serious note, look, the fact of the matter is that, see, even Mr. Reddy is trying to willy-nilly defend Rahul Gandhi. Mr. Reddy, we are not upset that he goes and says some things about the government or about the institutions. That can also be accepted, but he has demanded foreign direct intervention into the Indian affairs. Can any self-respecting person, this is not the only time, he did it on a day when he said Pulwama is not a terror attack. He said China wants harmony, and at that time you go and say that your country cannot run its own affairs and you need foreign direct intervention. And Congress has always been used to foreign direct intervention. We know that they like all things Videshi. They have had many Videshi leaders as their president, right from Alan Octavian Hume to Wedenberg to some other leaders in the recent past. So we know that they have always liked Videshi leadership in their own party, but does not mean that Videshis will come and run our policy. And this is an assault on 140 crore Indians' wisdom. क्योंकि आप जनता से हारे तो विदेशी ताकत के सहारे. This cannot be accepted by any person, no matter how much you may hate Narendra Modi ji.
I do not endorse it, Siddharth.
You said no, the statement is right, Jagah is wrong. That means you accept foreign direct intervention. This is an affront to our sovereignty. You must take a categorical stand and you must say, Rahul Gandhi, how dare you? How dare you, Rahul Gandhi? You run your party with foreigners, but you don't run this country with foreigners.
Your patch is not clear. Just keep it down a bit. I did not say I endorse whatever Rahul Gandhi had said. I made my point specific. What he said about the democracy of this country, what he said about the agencies. As you said, no sensible Indian will say that foreign intervention is required in India. No sensible Indian would say that.
So what is Rahul Gandhi in your opinion? Who says this, that there should be foreign intervention? What would you categorize that person? Today take a stand. If you are truly BRS, if you are truly Bharatiya Rashtriya Samiti and not Britain Rashtriya Samiti, take a stand. What will you categorize Rahul Gandhi as?
No,
Rahul
can I
Gandhi
also
is
ask
the
one
Congress
question?
party's problem and the country's problem. Why should I have an opinion about it?
Answer then.
You don't have an opinion about India. You don't have an opinion about Indian democracy and foreign intervention in it. You don't have an opinion on that. Then what opinion will you have on what,
very
sir?
clearly, I said we do not endorse his statements of foreign people or foreign countries intervening in our country. I very clearly said it. What is that I have to have an opinion about Rahul Gandhi for?
All right.
Do I need to have a definite opinion about Rahul Gandhi?
Tehseen Poonawalla, the BRS also does not, think that you are doing the right thing. So what is this opposition unity? And you can't use that as a fig leaf, because when you actually defame and defile the institutions of India, what are you doing? Do you realize what you're doing? You are the opposition which screams the most that employment is an issue, price rise is an issue. Look at the world around you. If foreign investors don't come, if you and your leaders start going to call India a banana republic, do you think it's going to solve all the problems India has?
You're right. These are very important questions. And I won't, again, in a fig leaf of defense, as you call it, come to the most honorable Chief Minister of Goa defaming the Indian armed forces when they were fighting Pakistani terrorists by doing a press conference outside the Oberoi. You were covering it, no, Navika ma'am. I won't come to that. And I won't say that the Chief Minister of Gujarat...
I have no problems in condemning anybody who raises questions about the Indian armed forces. So Tehseen Poonawalla, do not try to bait me, because I'm not a politician. I have no problems in condemning anybody who has done it, whether it is from the Congress or the BJP, it doesn't matter. But the fact is, when your party and when your idols and when your icons go abroad and talk about democracy, they forget that they won an election, their party won an election just 2 months ago. And then they say democracy is dead.
May I please make my point? I never baited you. I know you will never get baited, and I never bait you. I said nobody from the opposition caused the then Chief Minister of Gujarat anti-national for speaking while our armed forces are fighting terrorists. He was doing a press conference. Nobody called him anti-national. And that's how democracy should be. We understood his point of view was wrong, but we stood by him. He was our person only. Now he's the Prime Minister. And as
you are changing the goalposts, my friend. You are indulging in the only medicine you have, which is whataboutry. Which is whataboutry. You do not have a single legitimate reason to give on why Rahul Gandhi said what he did. So what you are doing, muddying the waters and doing whataboutry, Ishkaran Bhandari, does any Congress representative sitting here, whether it is Tehseen Poonawalla or Lokesh Jindal, who doesn't even know the difference between Bilkis Bano and Shah Bano, does any of them have any way of giving any logical reason of why Rahul Gandhi said what he has said, or why Manishankar said what he did?
No, but in this I think Mr. Jindal was right. He was probably referring to the rights of Shah Bano being assaulted. I don't want to use the word rape, because her rights were completely assaulted. Her right to maintenance was completely assaulted. So probably he was referring to the rights of Ms. Shah Bano being assaulted. But the other aspect, which is very important, I want to ask the BRS spokesperson, who said no sensible person would speak this on foreign soil. So the interesting question is he trying to defend Rahul Gandhi, or is he raising question on the sense of Rahul Gandhi? That I hope the BRS spokesman does answer.
Well, Karthik Reddy, the ball is back in your court.
I don't know what is that you did not understand in this. I was very clear and said no sensible person. And it is very apparent right now with where the Congress party is. Can you not speak on each other? My patch is a little tricky today. Can you speak one after the other?
Okay, all right. The question being asked of you.
I cannot hear you guys.
Okay, guys, 1 minute. The question being asked of you, Mr. Karthik Reddy, is very simple. What Rahul Gandhi said, is it a betrayal of India or not? Yes or no? It's a simple question and a simple answer. Yes or no?
Let me answer that. Navika, let me answer that. You know what the Congress party's fortunes are, where it has been, where it has landed. This is exactly what Rahul Gandhi is doing. If Rahul Gandhi was competent enough for us to be discussing so much about him, Congress party would not be where it is.
Yes or no?
I hope you would get my answer from this.
No, I don't understand long answer. This is an objective question with a yes or no option.
It is not right. Anybody who wants foreign intervention in our country is not right.
Well, he's taken a stand, Shehzad. Now congratulate him. He's taken a stand. Congratulate him.
See, the reason why he is having reservations because his own leader once upon a time had said that Rahul Gandhi said absolutely correct things on Pulwama, that it has happened in India and it is not a role of Pakistan. So therefore, how can one person who has betrayed Bharat stand against those who are betraying Bharat? So therefore, he can't say, yes, this is the ultimate betrayal of Bharat. Just like Tehseen Poonawala and Kartik Reddy are twin brothers. They are the twin brothers in the betrayal of Bharat.
You're being harsh. You're being harsh. Kartik Reddy had the guts to say that Rahul Gandhi is wrong, and he said that yes, it is a betrayal. Tehseen Poonawala, would you want to say the same?
It is a strong word to use, but he was not right in using those words.
Okay, Tehseen, can you say that too? Rahul Gandhi was wrong.
Those who are today lecturing Shri Rahul Gandhi, I'm just going to take 30 seconds without interference. Forget one thing. He comes from a family where his grandmother told the American president in clear language when he threatened over the 7th fleet to send the 8th fleet. Where his father, who's a martyr for this country, made China lose the most number of soldiers in the pushback and declared Arunachal Pradesh state. The Prime Minister, the most honorable Prime Minister, who shivers and quivers to take China's name, their party has no right to lecture Mr. Rahul Gandhi. I'll just take 10 seconds.
You know, Tehseen Poonawala, while you say whatever about the great leaders of India, you took more than 30 seconds and I didn't interrupt you. Of course, you don't want my intervention because I'm an Indian, but you're not averse to America's intervention or UK's intervention. I got that, and I think the viewers got that too. But you can't say, my father did this, so don't ask me a question. Are I have to be answerable for my own sins. My father can't be, answerable for them, Lokesh Jindal. So maybe, Indira Gandhi was a very good leader for India in many ways, but there were some faults, and people of India, did the stock taking of that and made her answerable for it. Isn't it time for Mr. Rahul Gandhi to do the same?
Navika, let me complete. When the Bilkis Bano incident happened, the manner in which minorities' rights were being taken away, what was the NHRC doing? What was the Supreme Court of India doing?
My friend, when Shah Bano's case was completely trampled by changing the laws of the land, what was the NHRC doing then, my
Navika,
friend?
I deserve 30 seconds of so as to complete my.
But then answer both the questions. I'll give you 30. I'll give you 40 seconds. Answer both.
The point is, when a state becomes dictatorial and infringes upon human rights of its civilian, at that point of time, agencies like United Nations Human Rights Commission, they have to they have to inform that state that, okay, the rights of minorities are being taken away. At this point of time, Rahul Gandhi was absolutely right, because he is standing for those whose rights are being curbed upon by majoritarianism. Over here, when the government is targeting Rahul Gandhi, it knows where it is wrong. It has made the minorities collateral damage for its policy so as to grab political power. And at this point, Rahul Gandhi is absolutely right. In fact, let me tell you a prophecy. In history, Rahul Gandhi would be known as a leader who took on the mightiest, a very tyrannical form of opposition, and still will come out successful. He will be still.
Well, we're waiting for his success, but
I am shocked that today United States will lecture us about minority rights, as in the history of United States for 200 years. One second now, please, Mr. Jindal.
Nobody interrupted you, Lokesh Jindal. Now don't interrupt. Responding to your charges is Shehzad Poonawala.
United States, has it allowed any person other than Christian people to become its president? They take oath on not on the constitution but on the Bible. And forget Christian, even the non-Protestants, except for 2 presidents, can't become the president of United States. They are lecturing us, the country which has made Chief Justice, Election Commissioner, Chief Election Commissioner and President, Home Minister. All positions have been occupied by the topmost positions by the minorities, including Minority Prime Minister also. But I am asking another question. The Congress party is talking today. Hashimpura, Bhagalpur, Meerut, Maliana, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Jalgaon, Delhi. Or Delhi mein aisa narsanghar kiya, and Sajjan Kumar was defended for 34 years. Prime Minister got up and said that bada ped girta hai, dharti hilti hai. You allowed Jagdish Tytler to be the organizer of the Bharat Jodo Yatra. You are talking about minority rights. This is like Shaitan talking about Quran. So please, Lokesh Jindal, do not talk about minority rights. Congress has no right to talk about minority rights.
Well, there is place for politics in this country. there is place for asking questions, there is space for the opposition, and there is a parliament that is functioning. The question is, why do members of parliament who are members of parliament, who enjoy the privileges of being members of parliament, who actually are financed by the taxpayers of this country, chosen by the voters of this country, when they go and badmouth the democracy of India, questions will be asked, because this is a country that has always sought accountability. And in a democracy, that's how democracies function. Accountability must be given. Whether a leader should make these statements and seek foreign intervention for protecting India's democracy is a call that Indians will take, and Indians are waiting and watching. Every move, not just of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, they're watching all politicians, all leaders, because जाना है तो ultimately जनता की अदालत में, और जनता है, पब्लिक है, ये सब जानती है, because public is the boss. They will decide who's right and who's wrong. Thank you very much to all the panelists for joining me on debate number 1. On the other side, and the other big story is, ladies and gentlemen, brand Bharat is roaring and unstoppable. 2 global trophies have given reason to 1 billion Indians to rejoice. You all know what I'm talking about. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Naatu Naatu from RRR and the documentary The Elephant Whisperers have put India on the global charts by winning Academy Awards. India is today extremely proud, as this is the moment we all had been waiting for all these years and decades. RRR is the first feature film to bring India first ever Oscar in the Best Original Song category. The song that is on everyone's lips and on their playlists, and for keeping them grooving and on dance floors. It's a big win for India's culture and diversity. Artists even performed at the Oscar stage, which prompted the audience to give a standing ovation to all the performers for this big hit of all times. Let's get you a glimpse of what's called World's Envy and India's Pride.
Ready? RRR.
And after this came the double glory.
And the Oscar goes to The Elephant Whisperers, Kartiki Gonzalez and Gunit Monga.
This is the greatest ode to India, our originality, our creativity and our culture being hailed by the world.
Na pata zudu, na pata zudu, na pata zudu, naatu 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 naatu.
RRR's Naatu Naatu won the Best Original Song at the Oscars. Watch how the backbenchers became the toast of town.
Thank you, Academy. I grew up listening to the Carpenters, and now here I am with the Oscars. There was only one wish on my mind. So was Rajamouli's and my family's. RRR has to win. Pride of every Indian, and must put me on the top of the world. Thank you, Kartikeya and Variance Films, for making this possible. Love you all. Thank you. Namaste.
Not just sweeping the award, Naatu Naatu also got world dancing to Indian tunes. Hear how Deepika called it an absolute banger.
An irresistibly catchy chorus, electrifying beats and killer dance moves to match. In addition to being sung in Telugu and illustrating the film's anti-colonialist themes, it's also a total banger.
This is Brand India, and it's arrived.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 2 on Times Now. Super Prime.
And joining me tonight, Mr. V. Vijendra Prasad, Member of Parliament in the Rajya Sabha and father of S.S. Rajamouli. Joining me live from Hyderabad, Madan Karki, lyricist for Naatu Naatu's Tamil version. Also joining the News Hour tonight, Vishal Mishra, singer of the Hindi version of Naatu Naatu, also with us. And a big round of congratulations to all of you. V. Vijendra Prasad ji, I just want to ask you, as the father of Mr. Rajamouli, we asked you this earlier also, how proud do you feel tonight? Your son has got this entire film industry, the cinema world and India so proud. Tonight, have you had a word with your son, and what are your feelings?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Yes, I had a word with him, naturally. Very elated. A proud moment for all of Indians.
What did he say to you?
He laughed, he smiled, he laughed.
Okay, was it a FaceTime call? Was it a video call?
Conveys a lot. It's a video call.
Okay, so please describe to us. The whole country wants to hear. What did Rajamouli say to his father? Did you congratulate him, or did he jump
Not
and
exactly.
tell you?
There are not like that, but I can see that there's a story behind this success.
Do share it with our
it is
viewers
success
tonight.
of 3 generations. Yeah, certainly. I am the story writer. My brother Shivashakti Datta, the father of Keeravani, is my guru in the stories. I learned how to write stories from him.
Okay.
So this is my generation. My son directed the movie. My daughter-in-law did the costumes. My brother's son Keeravani, he gave the music. And his wife, Valli, she's a line producer. That's the second generation. And third generation is Keeravani's son, Bhairava. He sang the song. And Rajamouli's son, he's a line producer for the movie. So it's a success of 3 generations' hard work.
Many congratulations, Mr. Vijendra Prasad. 3 generations, and how are you so controlled? How are you, just so quietly sitting? I mean, don't you feel like dancing to Naatu Naatu already on screen?
I'm too old for the dance, but my mind is dancing.
Okay, your mind is dancing. And what did Mr. Rajamouli tell you?
Yeah. No, he was busy. I mean, there are a lot of people going around him. But his smile conveyed what all I told you. His smile conveyed, Papa, this is a father, this is a victory of 3 generations.
Amazing. I mean, what a first exchange. And Vishal, we've spoken about this before. We've spoken with Mr. Prasad when the entry to the Oscars happened. Were you absolutely sure that Naatu Naatu is going to be the jinx breaker for India?
I don't know, somewhere in my heart I was feeling that it'll do what it has done, and it's just a beautiful moment for all us Indians, I feel, celebrating the culture at that international stage. It's not a hip-hop song, it's not a pop song, it's a Desi song, and the culture is represented. And for me, being associated with the song, being associated with the film, and everybody who's associated with the film, I think the genesis is so Indian. I think that purity is what is translating to whatever it is doing in the world, and it has opened new gates for people. So many of them will get inspired today. When Rahman Saab got it for Slumdog, a lot of people then realize, oh, we can go to Oscars, and now we can win, and we can win portraying our culture, I think it's the most inspiring thing, and you're going to see a big change in the way people approach filmmaking and music making from now on, I think.
Vishal, this country will never tire from hearing Naatu Naatu. Now till eternity, I think Naatu Naatu is going to be something people are... Mr. Prasad says he thinks he's too old to dance, but I think age is just a number. Naatu Naatu can make anybody dance. So why don't you sing it for our viewers tonight?
I'll sing the Hindi version for you. अरे बैल जैसे धूल उड़ा के सींग उठा के तुम भी नाचो बाज जम के ताल ढोल बेटा राजू उड़ के ना शेर से भी तेज देखो चल सके ना कोई नाच मिट्टी जोता रोट मोटा मिर्चा खा के ऐसे नाचो के आजा छोरे के आजा गोरे के आजा छोरे नाचो 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 वीर नाचो नाटू 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 यार नाचो.
Amazing, amazing. Mr. Madan Karki, you are the lyricist for the Tamil version. What did you think when you were sort of writing the lyrics? Did you ever imagine that this would be the trajectory the film and the song will take?
Definitely not, but I never expected this song to reach this global stage and win Oscars and Golden Globes. But what I felt when first time I listened to the story from Mr. Rajamouli and while writing dialogues, or even when writing this particular song, recording the song, every single time the song was growing multifolds into me. So it was growing in size. I felt that this is not just a song. That was what I talked about in the first press event when I was in Chennai. This is not just a song. The song itself is a movie in itself. The song has a conflict, it has a challenge, and it has a oppression in it, and how people want to revolt against that, and how they challenge it, and the arc of a hero, the friendship between two friends, the love, sacrifice, every possible emotion that's possible in an entire movie is packed in a 5-minute song. And I'd give this credit to our writer, Mr. Vijendra Prasad, for sowing the seed for this victory. So because he conceived this particular idea, and when this was conceived as a movie, Rajamouli, Mr. Kiravani and Chandra Bose took it to a very different level. So the raw rustic feel of the music, and also the lyrics translate something to like however you feel when you bite a red hot chili, that is the feeling that I should get when this dance is happening. So this is the kind of a thing which Chandra Bose Garu wrote this particular song with, and the music and the way Kalabhairava and Rahul actually sung this particular song, and Ramcharan and Tarak actually danced for this particular song. The energy from every single level, from the lyric to the music to the beats to the dance to the visuals, it transferred to so many different people, and it's now erasing the boundaries and making people realize, just like how when you started, how people don't understand what the lyric means also. They're now able to understand the emotion that was conceived by Mr. Vijendra Prasad. The 3 generation of storytellers and movie makers were working on this particular thing together, and emotion does not have any language, so it breaks all the barriers, and that's what the song has proved once again.
I know. I mean, you said it in that line. Emotions don't have any language barriers. They don't have any country boundaries. Emotions just flow. I still want to ask you a question, Mr. Prasad. The author, the conceiver of this story, yes, the man because of whom this film is where it is, and this song is where it is, and Indians and their emotions today are where they are. How do you manage to be so calm, cool and collected?
What can I say? It comes with age, I think. You have seen so many things. So many things have passed. Good things, bad things, disappointments, exhalations. But sometimes you tend to be philosophical. Take everything in the stride.
You take this in your stride? Well, I don't know. Vishal, can you take it in your stride, or do you want to dance, and do you want to just get up and clap and do strange things today?
more than that, I'm feeling so proud. I can't even express in words what that feeling is all about. You know, for me, growing up in Uttar Pradesh and then going to Hyderabad and singing this, it somehow resonates from the top of India to the south of India. The genesis of India is so deeply rooted in our culture. And representing that culture on an international stage, I was in Uttar Pradesh for 2 days for Holi. Every corner was playing Naatu Naatu. Every corner, you know, people are dancing, people are doing things that they do in Holi. It is a beautiful feeling, and I feel so proud. And it's more than anything else. This feeling is just inspiring me, and I want this to translate into so many millions of them. I can't contain it, and I hope that it just keeps going on. It's a new journey for Indians from today onwards.
Well, let me also tell you that last week I also had a family wedding. In fact, my son got married, and
oh, wow.
The whole week the Punjabi wedding was singing and dancing to Naatu Naatu.
Yeah.
So forget this country. It's blurred all the boundaries of every state, every language. It's today blurred the boundaries of nations, and to that I think we all owe a standing ovation to Mr. Vijendra Prasad. I'll do that here from the studios. A standing ovation to you, sir. You say you're old, but I think you have many more beans in you, and we're looking forward, because Oscar entries have to go in every year, sir. So my request, and India's requesting you, please think of another story which needs to be told, and which is there, the seed of which is there in your mind. We need another Oscar next year, sir. So we are putting in an application to you again.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you very much to all of you for joining me here and for celebrating Naatu Naatu. And Vishal, please, even as we wind up, Nacho 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 is what we want to hear once again.
Na bada zudu, na bada zudu, na bada zudu, na tu na du na du na du na du na du ira na tu nacho 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 yara nacho.
Amazing. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and good night for tonight.
The News Hour at 9 will be right back after the break.
mm एक्स्ट्रा, लंबा व्हील बेस, सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा जगह। यह है कहानी BMW 3GL की। नमस्ते टाइम्स ड्राइव फैमिली, आई एम क्रांति संभव। वेलकम टू द फर्स्ट ड्राइव रिव्यू ऑफ BMW 3 सीरीज GL यानी ग्रैंड लिमोजीन, जो ऑब्वियसली रेगुलर 3 सीरीज से ज्यादा लंबी है व्हील बेस के हिसाब से। कुछ एक चेंजेस इसमें हुए हैं, तो इस वजह से ये हम वीडियो कर रहे हैं उन चेंजेस के बारे में बताने के लिए, और ये भी जानने के लिए कि जो दावा है कंपनी का सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा आराम का, ज्यादा स्पेस का, वो दावा पूरा हो पा रहा है या नहीं। सो बिफोर आई स्टार्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस कार, सबसे पहले टाइम्स ड्राइव के बारे में आपसे बात करता हूं या अपील करता हूं। अभी तक अगर आपने सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो प्लीज सब्सक्राइब कीजिए हमारे चैनल को, और सोशल मीडिया पर बाकी जो भी हैंडल्स हैं वहां पर टाइम्स ड्राइव के नाम से आप सर्च करें, उसे भी फॉलो करें। लेटेस्ट खबरें आपको मिलेंगी, और timesdrive.in है हमारा वेबसाइट, वहां पर तो लेटेस्ट खबरों के अलावा डिस्काउंट्स और जो स्पाई पिक्स हैं, आने वाली गाड़ियां हैं, उन सब के बारे में खबरें मिलेंगी। तो लेट्स स्टार्ट दिस स्टोरी। हम बात करते हैं BMW 3GL की। क्रांति संभव रिपोर्टिंग फ्रॉम द सेकंड रो ऑफ BMW 3GL। आमतौर पर ये वाला हिस्सा स्टोरी में बाद में आता है, लेकिन जब यूएसपी यही है तो फिर व्हाई नॉट स्टार्ट द स्टोरी विद दिस। और यहाँ पे सबसे पहली चीज जो मैं देख पा रहा हूँ उसमें कुछ बताने की जरूरत भी नहीं है। आई एम 6'3", बावजूद इसके लेग रूम, नी रूम आप देख सकते हैं कितनी ज़्यादा मुझे यहाँ पर मिल रही है, यानी बहुत ज़्यादा आरामदेह। आपको ये एक्स्ट्रा जो व्हील बेस है, एक्स्ट्रा जो इसका लेंथ है, वो आपको सेकेंड रो में देने वाला है, काफ़ी ज़्यादा एक्स्ट्रा आराम स्पेस के हिसाब से। और दूसरी चीज़ जो मुझे खास लग रही है, थाई सपोर्ट काफ़ी आगे तक है, इसका बेंच जो है काफ़ी ब्रॉड है, तो वहाँ पे आप लंबी दूरी पर काफ़ी आरामदेह तरीके से जा सकते हैं। एवरेज इंडियन हाइट के लिए तो
हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं मोहुल, who is founder and CEO of Matter. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So Mohul, we've already seen this bike. I still don't know what you guys going to call it right now, but hopefully, we're going to know about it in a couple of months, I believe, and more details that we already know about specifications and what you are offering with this bike. But उसके अलावा कुछ और चीज़ें हैं जिनकी डिटेल्स अभी आनी बाकी हैं। So इस बाइक को लेकर थोड़ा टाइमलाइन, इफ यू कैन एक्सप्लेन किस तरह का टाइमलाइन रहने वाला है एंड कब इसका ऑफिशियली लॉन्च आप करने वाले हैं?
Definitely. So first thing is at the Auto Expo we have
welcome. You're watching the Newsroom Agenda. I'm Padmaja Joshi. The first day of the second half of Parliament's budget session was practically washed out today. The reason? Rahul Gandhi's comments in London, where he said that democracy is in danger and the opposition is being silenced. The Prime Minister yesterday had criticized these comments obliquely in his Karnataka speech, but today, union ministers inside Parliament in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha took on the former Congress president directly, demanding nothing less than an unconditional apology from him.
राहुल गांधी ने लंदन में जाकर भारत को बदनाम करने की कोशिश की है और कहा है कि भारत में लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था पूरी तरह से तहस नहस हो रही है। अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं आपसे यह मांग करता हूं कि पूरे सदन के द्वारा उनके इस व्यवहार को खंडन किया जाना चाहिए और उनको ये आपके द्वारा निर्देश दिया जाना चाहिए कि संसद के फोरम पर आकर वह क्षमा याचना करें। अध्यक्ष महोदय,
इस सदन के एक सदस्य श्रीमान राहुल गांधी विदेश के धरती पे जाके एक तो स्पीकर के ऊपर अस्पर्शन, कास्ट अस्पर्शन ऑफ द स्पीकर, चेयर के ऊपर आरोप लगाते हैं सर। उनका माइक पूरा चालू था सर, शुरू था। जब आपने उनका पूरा मौका दिया, उन्होंने पूरा बोला। मैं इनसे पूछना चाहता हूं, when the fundamental rights are suspended during the emergency, who was in power sir? डेमोक्रेसी का क्या हो गया था?
भारत के लोकतंत्र के ऊपर प्रहार करता है, एक प्रकार से पूरे देशवासियों का और सदन का अपमान किया है, और वो भी विदेशी जमीन पर। भारत में फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच है, भारत में सदन में हर एक मेंबर अपनी बात रखता है, और मैं समझता हूं कि सभी जो लोग इस विषय में विश्व भर में देख रहे हैं, सभी से माफी मांगनी चाहिए।
विदेशों में जाकर के भारत के लोकतंत्र को, भारत के संसद को, भारत को अपमानित करने का, गाली का काम किया, इन पर तो देशद्रोह का मुकदमा चलना चाहिए।
Now, while the Congress insists that there is nothing wrong in what Rahul Gandhi has said, and he's only stating the obvious. Let's take a look at some events over the past 24 hours vis-a-vis democracy in India. India clearly has enough democracy for a sitting chief minister to extend revolutionary greetings to Chinese President Xi Jinping. Not just that, Pinarayi Vijayan then went on to commend China's rise as a prominent voice in global politics and sent his best wishes for the continued and elevated prosperity of China. India is also democratic enough for a Congress leader and Rajasthan in charge to exhort his party workers to finish off the BJP and Modi. Listen in for yourself to how democracy was at work when SS Randhawa spoke.
अगर डिसिप्लिन आ जाएगा अडानी को हम एक दिन में ही हिंदुस्तान से निकाल देंगे। मोदी निकल गया तो अडानी खत्म हो गया। और यार भैंस पार लो, यूं तो साथ ही मर जाएंगी। पहले बीजेपी को मार लो, अडानी साथ ही मर जाएगा। आप अडानी कर रहे हो, मोदी करो कि मोदी देश का बेड़ा गर्क कर रहा है, मोदी देश को बेच रहा है। हमारी लड़ाई अडानी के साथ नहीं है, हमारी लड़ाई बीजेपी के साथ है। बीजेपी को मारो, अडानी अंबानी साथ ही मर जाएंगे। तो उसके बाद ऐसा होना चाहिए कि जब कांग्रेस आए, अडानी अंबानी नहीं आने चाहिए, इनको अंदर जेल जानी चाहिए, जेल में जाने चाहिए, कहीं लीडर इनको साथ लेकर न चल पड़े।
So that brings us to the question, if the current state of India shows us that democracy is dead, then what exactly is the ideal model of democracy that the Congress wants in India? What is the democracy that the left, the CPM, admires? Is it the one that is espoused by the likes of Xi Jinping and SS Randhawa?
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
All right, joining us on the debate, we have Shazia Almi, spokesperson of the BJP, Suhail Seth, columnist, Dr. Suman C. Raman, political analyst, Shubhransh Rai, also political analyst. But my first question is to Vivek Srivastava, political analyst and quite a staunch supporter of the left.
Yes.
Vivek Srivastava, I just wanted, out of curiosity, for you to explain to us what's the ideal democracy for you? The Xi Jinping model of democracy?
No, I think it's a communist state, number one. So, I mean, an ideal democracy is the one in which you do not discriminate on the basis of religion. You move ahead with times, you are modern, you are progressive, you are scientific, you have women rights, you have worker rights, you have farmer rights. That is an ideal democracy where votes are not garnered by, manipulations, muscle power and money power. That is an ideal democracy. And unfortunately, right now, when we saw how Pawan Kheda was whisked away, almost from the airplane on a frivolous charge, that is not democracy that we want. We don't want a democracy in which our Prime Minister...
Pinarayi Vijayan extends revolutionary greetings to President Xi Jinping on his re-election as the President of People's Republic of China. It is truly commendable that China has emerged as a prominent voice in global politics. Best wishes for the continued efforts to achieve a more prosperous China. Is that the democracy that we are trying to aspire to in our dead little democracy of India?
I did not know that we were an American colony where it was only right for us to praise the Americans and the Europeans and their companies and their technologies and become their dalals and get them over here in the name of Make in India. I thought we are a free country.
तो क्या ही बात कर रहे हैं आज FATF की रिपोर्ट आई है चलिए अभी ये सब let's not use these words. But anyway, coming back to democracy, Vivek Srivastava, hold on a second. So.
No, I mean, now you are circumventing it. Let me speak.
No, I'm not circumventing. I am just reminding you because we are, and rightly so, we are very harsh about, the state of democracy in India. Let me actually read to you from a US State Department report and an article it quotes from June 3rd, 2020 about the great democracy that China is. And it is being hailed and it is being wished the very best of luck for continued prosperity. In China, you can't use these words in public. What are the words you can't use in China? Winnie the Pooh. Why? Because Chinese internet users use images of Winnie the Pooh to represent Xi Jinping. Baozi, which means steamed bun. Why? Because this is one of Xi Jinping's nicknames. Tibetan independence, for obvious reasons. Soviet jokes, because mocking the Soviet Union is considered making fun of communism. 709, you can't use the figure 709 because this is the group of human rights activists and lawyers arrested on July 9. You can't use the term Great Firewall of China because describing and discussing censorship is in itself censored in China. Dictatorship, you can't use that word online. Tiananmen, for obvious words. June 4 for obvious reasons because the Tiananmen Square happened that day. And the tank man, which is the famous image of an unidentified Chinese man who stood in front of a column of tanks. So pathetic as India's democracy may be, I'm still trying to understand what exactly is so beautiful in China's model of democracy that we must aspire to. Other than, of course, censoring Winnie the Pooh and Bao.
I'll tell you. No, I mean, see, you can be selective, and I can also quote New York Times, I can quote the BBC, and I can quote XYZ foreign journals, American journals, European journals, which are showing India in a very bad light. But that is not the right way to take the discussion. You need to understand the world is having
showing India in light. These are actual words you cannot use in China. And since you're talking about equal rights of people, let's not even talk about the 3 million Muslims who are in behavioral camps in Xinjiang. I'm sure you would have read about it.
So I just want to come into this debate.
It's not the question of reading. Why don't you see the other way of it?
I wish Pinarayi Vijayan ji, Vivek Srivastava ji, I wish Pinarayi Vijayan just put in a word for the Uyghur Muslims of China to be allowed to use the word Muhammad, because they can't use the word Muhammad as their first name in China.
No, that is your imagination.
Anyway,
that is your imagination. You should be first concerned about the Haridwar Dharm Sansad.
No, it's actually there.
You should be first concerned about the Haridwar Dharm Sansad and Jantar Mantar Naraz.
Concerned, Abhi Aula. No,
Mulle kaate jayenge. I think you should be concerned about that first and put your house in order first.
Cognizant of the fact, I think you and I don't need to worry. You and I don't need to worry too much because the courts are very much cognizant of the fact.
No, I need to worry for my nation, madam. I need to worry. Where minorities are becoming second-rate citizens, I need to worry.
Okay, so
I am worried.
Here is the difference, sir. Here is the difference. You will talk about one Haridwar Dharm Sansad, after which FIRs were filed. 2 people, including Wasim Tyagi and the person who organized the Dharm Sansad, were sent to jail. As opposed to the behavioral camps in China, which are a state policy.
No,
this is not some random loony running around organizing Dharm Sansads and pretending to be the Thekedar of all Hindus, which they are not. They are not. As opposed to China, as a policy, taking Uyghur women and marrying them to Han Chinese and not allowing you to wear a skull cap and not allowing you to keep a beard and not allowing you to read the Quran. That's the democracy that you laud. That is
an American propaganda which you want to buy, you buy. I don't buy that propaganda.
It's not propaganda.
No, that is an American propaganda. You want to be
Vivek, you lie about the truth of China.
If America and NATO just ditched Ukraine,
you lie about the truth of China and you create lies about India.
Shazal, I'll give you full time to respond. Right at the outset, let's get few things clear. Do you, Vivek Srivastava, think that China is a better democracy than India?
Look, China is a communist state. It is not a democracy in the sense that India is, number one.
Do you believe as a model of governance, China is better than India, which of course right now is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to democracy? Do you believe China is here and India is here?
Yes, they are manufacturing. Yeah. No, let me tell you, I do not know about here and there. All I will tell you is they are a communist state. It's a single party rule. You cannot compare it to our way of democracy because we are different kind of a constitution. Number 2, they are an economic, a political and a defense superpower. It's a bipolar world. They are the only ones apart from Russia which can counter an imperialist America.
Is hailing China and flagellating India. Surely he finds one better than the other, right? So I'm asking you to help me understand that if India is a dead democracy, how does China get lauded as a powerful global voice?
I mean, they are a powerful voice. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. It's not hidden. If there is an axis which is, opposite of the America-Israel-European axis. It is the Russian, the Chinese, the Cubans, the Vietnamese and many others who are together. And I praise Dr. S. Jaishankar. I praise Dr. S. Jaishankar of purchasing fuel from Russia, going against the American wishes, looking at the interest of India.
You are actually not, you're saying a lot,
we belong.
but you are not answering any of my questions. I think by your prevarication itself, you have made quite clear, you've made quite clear where your sympathy lies. Shazia Almi, you wanted to respond. Yes, go on, then I really want to open this up. Yes.
So first of all, I think it's a matter of great shame, and that Rahul Gandhi had to go out of the country and on foreign soil brought heaps of shame, not just to India or the Indian democratic institutions, which includes the Parliament and the EC and Supreme Court, but also to himself, being a parliamentarian and somebody who is literally in charge of a party which has governments in Rajasthan and Himachal. That's one. Two, Pinarayi Vijayan, when he lauds General Xi Jinping and is ready and quick to deride Indian democracy, belittle it and say nas and trash it at every step, should really know better. And putting India down and India's sovereignty down, I think it's a matter of great shame. And I really think that ours is the most vibrant democracy, and all the rights that were mentioned by Vivek Srivastava about farmers, women's, peasants, Adivasis. Has there ever been any time that the freedom has been stifled? But in emergency. And in certain states, yes, I can talk.
You bring up the emergency. Sumansi Raman.
What is happening?
In fact, both Harivanshji and Jagdeep Dhankar, when responding to Mr. Gandhi, said if there was one time when truly democracy was close to perishing, it was in the emergency. Far from what we are seeing in 2023.
And the Congress party, Padmaja, the Congress party has accepted that multiple times after the emergency. They have themselves said that it was a mistake.
Actually,
the point really is,
they haven't.
I think that there is
You're so wrong there. We don't have to go too far back. Hold on, Dr. Raman. Right now, barely a week ago, at that meeting of Indian journalists in the UK, Mr. Gandhi was asked about the emergency. No. So when you say that the Congress has accepted it was a mistake, let me actually play for you what Mr. Gandhi said about the emergency in London barely a week back. Listen to him.
But that's not something that has just come out in the last 9 years. It's not something which is new. There is a historicity to anything. So
no, what is
in a sense can we say that it's something which has just started?
No, what is something that
silencing the media?
Absolutely. It has never ever been done at the scale that it's being done. There were periods when there were aberrations, but this is full-scale attack on the institutional structure. This has never been seen in modern India before. It's completely different.
So Dr. Sumansi Raman, at a time when the entire media was stopped from publishing, opposition leaders were jailed, was called an aberration. It's almost as if you lost signal on your Tata Sky.
Padmaja, I apologize for the emergency. It was a mistake. Rahul Gandhi, 13th May 2019, in an exclusive interview,
said when asked about the emergency last week.
Imposing emergency was a big mistake.
I just played for you what the man said.
Emergency was a mistake, says Rahul Gandhi.
He said it is an aberration. When asked about large-scale crackdown on the media, he said it's an aberration.
13th May 2019. Padmaja,
he just called it an aberration. When specifically asked about his comments on democracy dying, he said what's happened now has never happened earlier. And that was an aberration. Far from just the crackdown on media, sir. Let me quote to you what did happen during this aberration. There were houses that were demolished in Turkman Gate. Men were picked up whole scale and were sterilized. And by the way, this is not the first time. Earlier also, we've had Congress leaders say that emergency was an aberration for family planning.
Can be more clear. You can say aberration in various ways, Padmaja. It doesn't change the fact that I apologize for the emergency and it was a mistake is the most unequivocal statement that anyone can make. And if you don't want to believe it, I can send you the links, the sources. It's all over. Not once, not once.
When I just played Mr. Gandhi.
I said it almost on half a dozen occasions. Half a dozen occasions.
All right. So he said
sentence selectively.
The Congress has apologized wholeheartedly, as quoted by Dr. Suman Siraman. Then clearly they have the right to now ask questions when the shoe is on the other foot. They recognize the evil, so they see it in 2023.
Let him stop speaking. Only then will I speak. I don't want to be interrupted. Let him finish his.
That he apologized.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Yes,
got it.
go on.
Thanks. Now let me say what I have to say. I really don't care, and I'm not a big critic of Rahul Gandhi for his comments because everyone is allowed a criticism. My issue is slightly different. My issue is you don't ask for validation from countries that you had once upon a time either decried or obtained freedom from. I don't need the EU or the United Kingdom or anyone to validate my democracy. Number two, let's imagine Rahul Gandhi is an unhappy person in Indian democracy. The best thing, and trust me, this I say it seriously, the best thing for him would have been to resign as a member of parliament and say, I have no faith in the parliamentary system of democracy in India and relinquish all his privileges. I'm not even going there about the emergency. That's been done to death. It's past. I don't say whether someone has apologized, not apologized. That boat has sailed. But Padmaja, there are some serious issues when he talks about two things. Number one, seeking validation. And number two, saying all the institutions have failed. Because if all the institutions have failed, you as Rahul Gandhi are also a leader. You represent a political party and a party which has contributed majorly to India's evolution. For you to then say that today I have no faith in any Indian institution, what do you leave the average citizen with? Apart from the illogicality when you have two governments that have been formed within the mechanism of that same democracy. So my issue is that. My other issue is that you don't knock your country because you hate the Prime Minister. Then you talk about Modi, you discuss Modi abroad. You say that I believe his policies are this, his policies are that, BJP's policies are this. But to paint an entire country with one brush, saying we are now living in a non-democratic environment, to my mind is silly. My last point, a lot of the media has made a lot of noise about Pinarayi Vijayan's complimenting China. Let me tell you, Pankaj, you're much younger. The communists forever have been doing that. You know, we were born and raised in Calcutta. Jyoti Basu would compliment the Chinese even if they, were successful in blowing a balloon. I have no issues with that either. Pinarayi Vijayan is an elected chief minister within our democratic purview, and he has the right to congratulate China. He has to live with his conscience whether he actually believes that China is the final outpost. Now, Vivek said rightly that they are an economic superpower. They are a defense superpower. God be with them, fine. My issue, very limited to your program headline, is I don't think this should have happened. And my final point, Padmaja, is the political discourse in this country is at an abysmal level. Everyone has contributed. Every party leader, everyone. It is going from bad to worse. What Sukhjinder Randhawa has said is reprehensible. These are the kind of people who are the louts representing politicians and politics of our country.
Is this democracy for you?
Anyone has the right to debase and to fall to such depths of abusing another political opponent.
शुभ्रांश राय, is this democracy for you? जहाँ पे कोई कांग्रेस के नेता कहते हैं कि आप मोदी और बीजेपी को मारो, अदानी मर जाएगा, ये तो डेमोक्रेसी नहीं हो सकती.
Mr. Suhail Seth, are you also ashamed
Padmaja,
to have been born in India?
Padmaja, it's time for technology.
Hold on a second, Shubhran Shah.
Yes. Sir. Padmaja, it's time for technology. Either you speak in Delhi, either in Dehradun, either in Durban, London, America, Seoul or China, whatever you say. Yes, if democracy is in danger, if our external affair minister, Mr. S. Jaishankar says कि China is a strong economy, हम उसके खिलाफ कुछ कर नहीं सकते, बोल नहीं सकते, बात नहीं कर सकते, तब लगता है कि 140 करोड़ हिंदुस्तानियों का सर शर्म से झुक जा रहा है. इस वजह से डेमोक्रेसी इज इन डेंजर. जब इस देश में कोई लड़की गीत गाती है और उसके घर पे पुलिस चली जाती है, आर्टिकल 19 का अवहेलन हो रहा है, तब लगता है यस डेमोक्रेसी इज इन डेंजर. एंड वन मोर थिंग, यू जस्ट हियर दिस बाइट.
पता नहीं पिछले जन्म में क्या पाप किया था.
दिस वर्ड इज सेड बाय प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी इन सियोल एंड चाइना बोथ. अगर देश का लोकतंत्र से निर्वाचित व्यक्ति अगर देश के बाहर ऐसा बोलता है कि पता नहीं मैंने पिछले जन्म कौन सा पाप किया था जिसकी वजह से मैं भारत में पैदा हुआ, यस मैम डेमोक्रेसी इज इन डेंजर. अगर कोई आवाज उठाता है विपक्ष का नेता, उसके घर ईडी सीबीआई जाती, यस डेमोक्रेसी इज इन डेंजर. अगर आज विपक्ष के सारे नेता पार्लियामेंट के बाहर चलकर मांग कर रहे थे जेपीसी की, अंबानी अडानी रिश्तों की जांच हो, अडानी पे बीजेपी सरकार चुप क्यों है? अगर जवाब नहीं आया, यस डेमोक्रेसी इज इन डेंजर. Because opposition has only one responsibility. They raise the question for the nation and it is a responsibility of government to answer that question.
Okay, अगर ED के जाने से democracy is in danger, then the Congress in Delhi should stop clapping every time the ED arrests a member of the Aam Aadmi Party. Instead, they should stand outside with posters saying democracy is in danger. But democracy does seem in danger when a Congress MP for speaking in London is charged with sedition, or rather there are appeals being made कि उनको sedition, उनको देशद्रोह के लिए बुक कर दीजिए. That's not democracy either, Shazia Almi. Why should Rahul Gandhi be booked for sedition?
Madam.
Well, there are people who feel this way, and they're equally entitled to feel that way. Because when you go to a foreign country, you go to your former colonial master and you seek help and intervention from them, and you want to seek recourse, and you insinuate there is no democracy despite being an elected member of parliament, and you say nothing seems to be working here. Then and you lie blatantly, and you say that microphones are being switched off, and you also say
you can be countered as uninformed, maybe even as taking political discourse to a new low. But if you are going to start descending to the same level and say we are going to throw you behind bars, charge you with sedition, that's not helping the image of our country either. Anyhow, the great thing about our democracy is that we can have this difference of opinion and we can sit here and we can argue about it all in a civilized fashion as well. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much, all gentlemen and Shazia Almi, for joining me. Let's also hope that the rest of this session is not held hostage to this latest controversy.
The Oscar goes to The Elephant Whisperers, Kartiki Gonzalez and Gunit Monga.
Thank you to the Academy for recognizing our film, highlighting indigenous people and animals.
அந்த அவார்டு கிடைச்சதுல இந்த பாஸ்ட் டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்டுக்கு இங்கே இருக்கிற ஆதிவாசி மக்களுக்கு எல்லாமே சந்தோஷம் ஆயிடுச்சு.
Catchy chorus, electrifying beats, and killer dance moves to match have made this next song a global sensation.
And now here I am
on with the Oscars. There was only one wish on my mind. So was Rajamouli's and my family's. RRR has to win. Pride of every Indian.
Na paata zudu, na paata zudu, na paata zudu, naatu 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 veela naatu.
All right, so everyone, of course, has seen the magnum opus, has celebrated through the day, but there are many unheard stories of behind the scenes that took place, and who better than the cast, the people most intimately associated with the film, to tell us about it. Joining us now is Richard Bhakti Klein, an actor in RRR, Emerine Anjum, who also essays the character of Loki, Prithvi Chandra, somebody who's lent his voice to the soundtrack of RRR, and G. Jeevan Babu, music producer and keyboard programmer for Naatu Naatu. Mr. Babu, I want to start by asking you, today when Deepika Padukone introduced Naatu Naatu as a banger, had you ever thought that that word would be used for the song, and that too at the Oscars?
Yeah, definitely.
What is it like with both of the actors and specifically the director? Because they are of course superstars individually, making magnum opuses in the past as well. One, how were you cast, and what was it like working with a director like this?
So my scenes were with NTR. I didn't get the chance to work with Ram Charan, but it didn't really feel like, because in my character I call him Anna, which is like big brother. So on set also he felt just like a big brother who's taking care of all of us. That stardom factor or anything else wasn't there. It was very warm on set. And Rajamouli sir is the most humble person I have ever met, and his entire family. Because all of us would sit together, have lunch together, talk about things apart from just the film, like my family, what's my background, how many people are there in my family, what is my educational background. We discuss a lot of different things. But on set, he is a magician. He knows what he wants, and he can get that out from every person working on that set. Be it the crew, the cast, he knows what he wants. And for me, working with him, I know as an actor, I have been able to deliver more than like my best, which I have never felt ever in my life. Like as an actor, I used to go back because we were shooting in the jungles. It was hectic. But I used to have a very satisfied sleep and wake up excited in the morning to shoot for the next day. And talking about the second part of your question, I had auditioned for this role of Loki in Mumbai at Jogi Film Casting in 2017. And then I never heard back. And in 2019, I got a call saying that we want you for this part. And I had even forgotten about it. And which part is it? Remember S.S. Rajamouli sir's film? I was like, oh, okay, I have to be finalized for that. So it took me some time to place it all together, but it was such a great moment for me.
Well, aren't you glad you got that call back, even though you may have forgotten about it? Prithvi, a lot has been spoken about, how Indian stories are being told, but specifically vis-a-vis Naatu Naatu, it's also Indian music. At one time there were a lot of influences, inspirations. This is as unabashedly Indian as it gets. And for this to get an Oscar, what do you make of that?
I think the Naatu Naatu, the actual meaning at the core of this track is about how raw the song is in the local language. Like Polamkattu Dumulana Potlagita Dukinatu. It depicts like how raw the fields are, like the green fields, or how the cattle is. That's how raw the dance is. That's what the whole song depicts. So actually, I think when Jeevan Anna was actually programming the track, I was right next, and I was visiting the couple of versions right from when the song was a baby. I was right. Sir actually composed the Naatu Naatu, the hook phrase. Naatu Naatu in the first go itself. So in the first go itself, I think he locked the phrase, but then we were working on a variation of how the other song goes. and we were instantly hooked with how this went, and I think we never imagined what scale it would go, and today we are actually holding an Oscar. The whole India is proud. I think it's a fantastic moment.
Richard, if you don't mind me asking, I want to begin by asking you, why do you have the middle name Bhakti?
Oh, it's a long and personal story, but I mean bhakti in the biggest sense of love and devotion, like bhakti yoga. It describes my love for India and my devotion for the country here. It reminds me to stay in my heart. To be honest, I have a tendency to be in my head, and so when I hear the name, I'm reminded to stay within my emotions and my body and my heart, and it works on a lot of different levels for me. Thank you for asking.
Coming from the United States, of course, you've been in India, you worked in Indian cinema for almost 30 plus years, if I'm not mistaken.
Not quite that long, but yes.
Okay. How did you react to, the story of Indian freedom fighters?
Yeah. There's the last 50, 60, 70 years of Indian history has been amazing. And I think that in cinema is a really beautiful way to tell the story of a lot of the freedom fighters that maybe some of the younger generation is not that familiar with. And so even though I'm on the wrong side of the story, you could say, I'm very happy to participate in the telling of these stories so that the freedom fighters, their spirit and their energy and their devotion to India can live on, and people can learn about them in future generations.
Emery, what do you make of a story so intrinsically Indian? In fact, Deepika Padukone, when she was introducing Naatu Naatu, also spoke of how this was an anti-colonial film which was very consciously made to retell India's history through the eyes of Indians.
Yeah, I think that is what actually worked for the film, the Indianness of the film, from the beginning to the end, and as well as in the songs, because we are being very true to our culture. We are representing our culture in the rawest form possible. And that is what people like watching, because India has gone through a struggle. India has been, the British have ruled India for a long time. And what the Indians have felt during that time, the oppression and everything, that we have tried to show in the purest form possible. Though it is a fictionalized story of the two freedom fighters, but we knew there was a lot of oppression and everything. And showing that in the truest form possible, as well as having an emotional connect, because it's all about relationships too, between the characters, between the tribe. So I think because we have brought out our culture so beautifully, people all over the world have really, really connected with it well.
As an actor, do you also think that this is an effort by Indian filmmakers to try and, when we talk about the gaze, right, for very long we've had a certain gaze looking at India and telling our stories in a certain way. This is an effort to try and change that gaze and tell the world, we will tell the story of India ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I think, not to be very specific, but I think most of the times India is just considered as a poor nation and there are no more layers to it when it is represented in maybe people who are making films abroad. But there is so much more to Indian culture. There's not just poverty is just one part of it, but it's not what the entire Indian culture is. There's a lot more to it. There are so many layers. There's so many traditions which we as Indians can definitely highlight, because people who have not lived in India during that period or have not heard the stories from their ancestors don't actually know what has happened in India and what Indians have gone through. So having an Indian filmmaker tell the story definitely, alters the gaze for the entire audience.
And it's funny, like you would think that, there are a couple of caricatures. One, what we've seen in a little bit of the James Bond movies, the auto rickshaws, the crowded streets, the push carts and the snake charmers, and then you have the poverty. And then there are those overly caricaturized song sequences with blingy bindis. So while Prithvi, you had one half which was done away with and said, listen, there is more to us than just, poor people and snake charmers. But you didn't hold back from saying, no, we have like plenty of music and dancing, and we are very happy to do it, and we are far more energetic than anyone can ever imagine. So you've done like a healthy mix of both. Prithvi, that's for you.
Yes, so actually, I think the expression of the song when Jeevan was actually Jeevan Babu is sitting right here. I think he has worked so much effort, put in so much effort to actually every single instrument that you've heard right now with the drums and the beats and the instruments which were supporting the entire track. I think he's been working on multiple versions to get the best output possible, and to make the entire when we were working on the background parts and we were working on the composing scratches, I think we were given some briefs about how the visual is going to be put up like, and then we were trying to match every possible sound design to actually match that rawness to the visual grandeur. And right when the track was formed, I think everybody were so excited to see how is it going to be picturized. And trust me, it was very kept under very close circles that until the movie was released, no one had clue what was actually being screened on. And then it was a banger for the team itself. Like, okay, this is what we've been working on for so many years. And Rajmouli sir, being a master storyteller, I think he had the vision right when he was giving the inputs for the scratch. He perfectly knew what he exactly wanted, and I think he achieved that in the fairest way possible. And that's why I think...
Yeah, Jeevan Babu sir, tell us about the technicalities, because we see the end product, but there are just so many, tweaks and nips and tucks that happen in the process of making a song. Talk us through that. How is this song made? Something like a Naatu Naatu.
Actually, when we started the song itself, Rajmouli sir and Kiran sir, they totally explained how the song should sound. Like, means it sound like it should sound like very raw, and it should also sound little, means not that modern, but little bit matching to I don't know, good English, please don't mind. अभी ये ट्रेंड को मैच करने जैसा होना चाहिए ऐसा.
तो उनकी ब्रीफ थी क्या? उन्होंने आकर के ऐसे बोला कि इसका साउंड ऐसा सा होना चाहिए, थोड़ा सा उन्होंने ऐसे गा करके सुना. आई एम जस्ट लाइक क्यूरियस, किस तरीके से आपको ब्रीफ दिया जाता है जब इतना बड़ा आपका मैग्नम ओपस एंड रिजल्ट होता है? तो उसकी शुरुआत में ब्रीफ क्या होता है कि धमाका गाना बना देना? व्हाट इज द ब्रीफ?
No, ऐसा नहीं. Actually, Kiran sir explains everything with singing. He sings what he wants, whatever he wants. Now, suppose he sings like that. Everything he'll sing and say.
So then, how did he sing it out for you? वो पहली मीटिंग हमें बताइए कि पहली मीटिंग कितनी लंबी चली, कैसे उन्होंने आपको बताया?
With voice and easy. It's a big story, madam. That song nearly took, if you count with days, it took nearly 4 months. Suppose the total time was 1 year.
For one song?
Hello? One song it nearly took, means total overall time. Suppose if you mix all sessions together, no, I think it will you can take like 3.5 months, 4 months. So, but that song almost it took 1 year, means like all cut sessions like that. Nearly, I think first tune, nearly 15 tunes, I think, according to my memory. 16th tune got okay. After that, in that nearly we did 60 to 70 versions.
Wow, 60 to 70 versions for a song over the period of a year. That's quite something.
Everything was.
Richard, tell me, Hollywood also is a lot of awards also have an underlying politics. It's a slightly political question. Given the theme, that this was, about revolutionaries, it is anti-colonial. How do you think a story like this resonated with the Oscar jury?
Well, as we've been saying, I really feel that the reason why the movie was so successful and touched so many hearts in India and around the world is because it is a purely Indian story. It's not trying to be a Hollywood movie. It's not trying to take stories from around the world. It's homegrown. It's purely Indian in every way. And I think that Hollywood recognizes authenticity in that way. It recognizes the pure spirit of it in that way. And really, it's an award for this song, but it's the way that the Oscars work is that they pick one award that they think will work, but it's really to honor the film itself. So we won the award for the song, but it's really the entire movie that won. And honestly, I feel it's the entire Indian cinema industry that won. This is a nod to all of Indian movies and all of Bollywood and Tollywood and all of the regional cinemas. And it's Hollywood recognizing what we do and what we've been doing. And it's just wonderful to see it get that kind of recognition on the world stage.
Prithvi, on a personal note, which is your favorite song?
I think Naatu Naatu is my favorite. Though I have done Etara Janda, the climax song of the film, I think Naatu Naatu has all my love. And I'm very proud that my friends, we grew up together, Kala Bhairava and Rahul and we started our careers and songs with Kiravani sir for almost 10 years. It's so happy that my friends have performed exceptionally well. The energetic levels of the vocal, the dynamic range of it, I think they have performed exceptionally well. And it was so good to see them on stage representing all our Indian music fraternity. And the live sequence which was played and the choreographers there on the live event, I think it went fantabulous. We couldn't ask for a better presentation on a world stage representing India.
Did you ever go to Mr. Rajamouli or to Mr. Kiravani and say, why not me? Matlab, main kyun nahi? I also want to do this.
The thing is, them selecting me for harmony itself is a very prestigious thing for me. And I was just secretly wishing I would just do a background alap, but I was blessed with the moon. I got a song in the magnum opus, a film that made history, and this will be remembered, and I will be a part of history. That itself is giving a great moment. I'm so happy for Naatu Naatu, and I believe that is my song as well because I was there right next. We have a lot of background vocals that I've done, the chorus part, the shouts and everything and I still feel it is my song. When they were receiving the award, I think I had tears in my eyes and it was a very emotional moment for me.
I know you must be getting asked this all the time, but I can't let you go without singing both the songs. So you have to sing your song, you have to sing Naatu Naatu as a bonus for us.
Yes, sure. So I just first do the celebration. The Etara Janda, the track I did, is about, it is not much of the differences. The song meaning conveys it's not much of the differences. Let's all celebrate the whole idea is to celebrate the celebration after the entire victory, what is depicted in the film. So I'll do this Charanam, the last stanza, the last verse, which means it doesn't matter who is it. We just have to celebrate. That's what I think this film depicts. And Vadu vidu yavadaite yendira nidina de manade ijatara tikula minda divitila dondara dadarale tarvai sivamettara vayana dandora velichampana urura vedugala chenura vela kannula mindara Adia Dileka, Adarali Tanka, Talamesiado, Tayanka, General Tokani, Chandrolo Jinka, Elamida Mahalaga, Kasam Lochuka, Eturumarite, Etara Janda, Satu Rimite, Kotara Konda. And I think Rajamouli sir slightly hinted that, okay, we are gonna rock this world with that entry of his. When the entire film is done, he just enters with Adiya Dilekka. I think he gave us a hint that this is gonna get global, this is gonna get huge.
Superb, superb, and heartiest congratulations to all of you. I am guessing there will be many more celebrations. But on a parting note, Tell me honestly, Richard, you first and then you, Emerine. Are you asked like in parties, at friends and weddings to dance to Naatu Naatu?
Yeah, sometimes. More often for me, I'm asked to say the iconic lines that I say in the movie, like, he scares me more. I get asked to say that all the time, and, you know, arrest that bastard. That kind of stuff is what I'm asked to say over and over again at parties.
Well, that's exactly what we love hearing in our parties. Arrest that bastard. Emery, what about you?
My friends and people I know, they don't even ask me this. They just play the song and everybody starts dancing, and then I have to join it no matter what. So that's the situation here. I've heard this song so many times, even at the holy parties, everybody was playing it. So I think it's become like the national anthem now.
Oh, totally. And to be fair, I don't even think you need to have the song played anymore. Enjoy the moment. Thank you very much to all of you for RRR and of course for Naatu Naatu. Thank you.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break.
आ चुका है पोको X5 Pro का बॉक्स टेबल पे। अब इसको जल्दी से करेंगे अनबॉक्स। ब्लैक और येलो कलर का ये बॉक्स है, जो ज्यादातर पोको के स्मार्टफोन पे आपको येलो कलर, जो इसका सिग्नेचर कलर है, वो दिखाई देगा। Sometimes it is really tricky to take the tapes off, so let me try it with my nails. One tape down successfully. Guys, ये जो फीलिंग है ना अनबॉक्स करने वाली, ये काफी ही मजेदार लगती है। जब भी आप कोई नया गैजेट अनबॉक्स करते हैं तो मजा तो आता है। जैसे कि यहाँ देखेंगे, बॉक्स के पीछे की तरफ बहुत सारे डिटेल्स लिखे हैं, बॉक्स के बारे में फीचर्स लिखे हैं, वो दिखाएंगे और उसके बारे में बात करेंगे जब फोन हाथ में आ जाएगा। इनसाइड द बॉक्स यू गेट दिस लिटिल पेपर बॉक्स एज वेल, जिसमें ज्यादातर पेपर वर्क और प्रोटेक्टिव केस ही होता है। लाइक आई सेड, वही मिला है हमको। यहाँ पर एक छोटा सा मैनुअल टाइप है। यहाँ पर फोन को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए आपको मिलता है ट्रांसपेरेंट प्रोटेक्टिव केस, और साथ में सिम इजेक्टर टूल, विच इज वेरी बेसिक। अब मुझे बॉक्स के अंदर दिखाई दे रहा है हमारा डिवाइस, जिसके बारे में ये वीडियो बना रहे हैं। उफ, वेरी वाइब्रेंट एंड पेपी येलो कलर। Just like the box, the smartphone also boasts the combination of black, or call it dark grey, along with yellow.
Watching the News Hour at 10.
Liquorgate trouble continues for BRS MLC's alleged frontman Arun Pillai. Court extends ED custody by 3 days. Supreme Court directs petition seeking recognition of same-sex marriages to a 5-judge constitution bench. Hearing to begin from April 18. Days after former BJP MLC Puttanna jumped ship to Congress, BJP MLA Ramesh Jarkiholi accused the Congress State President DKS of blackmailing BJP leaders with CDs. Bengaluru auto driver and passengers' heated exchange over Kannada versus Hindi goes viral. The driver says you must speak in Kannada in Karnataka. Passenger says no, she won't. Pro-Kannada activist Praveen Shetty slams Hindi imposition by passenger, urged North Indians living in Karnataka to learn Kannada. A massive fire broke out at a furniture market in Mumbai's Oshiwara market. 12 fire tenders were deployed to douse the flames.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break.
$110mm extra, लंबा व्हील बेस, सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा जगह। यह है कहानी BMW 3GL की। नमस्ते टाइम्स ड्राइव फैमिली, आई एम क्रांति संभव। वेलकम टू द फर्स्ट ड्राइव रिव्यू ऑफ BMW 3 सीरीज GL यानी ग्रैंड लिमोजीन, जो ऑब्वियसली रेगुलर 3 सीरीज से ज्यादा लंबी है व्हील बेस के हिसाब से। कुछ एक चेंजेस इसमें हुए हैं, तो इस वजह से ये हम वीडियो कर रहे हैं उन चेंजेस के बारे में बताने के लिए, और ये भी जानने के लिए कि जो दावा है कंपनी का सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा आराम का, ज्यादा स्पेस का वो दावा पूरा हो पा रहा है या नहीं। सो बिफोर आई स्टार्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस कार, सबसे पहले टाइम्स ड्राइव के बारे में आपसे बात करता हूं या अपील करता हूं। अभी तक अगर आपने सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो प्लीज सब्सक्राइब कीजिए हमारे चैनल को, और सोशल मीडिया पर बाकी जो भी हैंडल्स हैं वहां पर टाइम्स ड्राइव के नाम से आप सर्च करें, उसे भी फॉलो करें। लेटेस्ट खबरें आपको मिलेंगी, और timesdrive.in है हमारा वेबसाइट, वहां पर तो लेटेस्ट खबरों के अलावा डिस्काउंट्स और जो स्पाई पिक्स हैं, आने वाली गाड़ियां हैं, उन सब के बारे में खबरें मिलेंगी। तो लेट्स स्टार्ट दिस स्टोरी। हम बात करते हैं BMW 3GL की। क्रांति संभव रिपोर्टिंग फ्रॉम द सेकंड रो ऑफ BMW 3GL। आमतौर पर ये वाला हिस्सा स्टोरी